Monster Integration by N1. Chapter 241 Win. Bam, another his attack hit my shield, but this time I did not move from my spot. My level up has completed, now it is time to fight battles on equal good. Now you are acting like a man, George said, seeing me contracting the shield. He said that attack me again with his sand-spiked skill. Fur. I ignited the fire jets behind me. With my instant movement, I put the distance between us. Seeing me moving away, he followed behind me. He launched his sand needle skill again. I brace myself for the pain seeing the needle, but this time is not like a last. This time, I just ignited jets for a moment before tuning them off. The speed I am moving is all because of the momentum it produced, but my speed is still faster than before. The needle will give me pain and reduce my speed a little, other than that, it won't able to do much. The real use of that needle skill is distracted one. As long as one had a good defense and endure the pain, there is nothing fearful about that skill. Earlier it able to harm me because I have been igniting the fire jets constantly and need huge concentration for that. And luckily he happened to have a skill that able to retrain my jets the best. If not for that skill, currently my speed would have been so fast that he wouldn't able to catch me. Pick. The barrage of needle came at me. I protected my head and chest with my shield, but other parts of my body were not so lucky as I felt piercing pain through them. It really hurts so bad. If I had a choice, I would have experienced the blow of his other skill than this harmless pain. Soon all the needles clashed against me, but I kept feeling the pain, but I surprised as this my chance to attack. I would have attacked earlier and would not have to experience such pain, but that time he was able to put up the defense as he was extra vigilant, but now it is completely different. He is currently thinking his needle attack had worked since my speed is decreased and expression of pain on my face. In the feeling of Trump, he again activated his sand-spiked skill and coming at me to launch the attack, but this time, he is going to get a big surprise. Fire strike, I said and launched an attack when the distance between us is only 2.5 meters. This very short distance to dodge my fire bolts, and after leveling up, my fire bolts experience changed both in strength and numbers. Earlier when I was mid-level specialist grade, my fire bolts were already able to pierce through the attack of the knight grade armor, and only combination knight artifact and knight grade defensive skill were able to stop them completely. Now their power had increased even more and I was able to launch 6 bolts through the skill. Seeing 6 bolts of mana coming toward him, his attitude quickly changed to the defensive. The sand layer on his mace started to spread to cover his body, but unlike last time, this time the mana bolts are way too fast. The sand layer of his, only able to cover his head and chest, while other parts of his body will be the mercy of my fire bolts. I was right, my fire moved toward him piercing through the air. By the time they had reached him, the sand layer was only able to cover his head and chest. Pick. Poochie. 3 of my fire bolts that were attacking toward his chest and head collided against the sand layer, which only able to stop them for short while piercing through it. I am not surprised seeing this, but these 3 bolts were not my main focus. My main focus was the lower 3 bolts which are piercing through his stomach and legs. His stomach and leg were only protected by his knight grade armor. The 3 mana bolts were felt the small obstruction of armor defense which took away their 40% of the power. They traveled through his body as if lit was butter, leaving a sharp burning smell behind. Whenever the mana bolts touch the skin, they will change their property. At that time they will less focus on piercing and more focus on the burning the path they are traveling, dealing maximum damage this way. They just feel very painful. As looking at George's face, he looked like he is facing the torture of the lifetime. I can even see light smoke coming from the small holes that my mana boys had made on his stomach and his thighs. The only disappointment that I can see the effect of 3 bolts which I launched towards its head and chest. I really want to see if they were able to pierce the 2 layer of defense or not. Fire strike. I launched an attack again as soon as I got enough mana, as those 6 bolts of fire nearly took 90% of mana. I had to drink mana potion right after launching the attack as I'm doing right now. 6 bolts again traveled towards George, but unlike last time, this time, I sensed the mana fluctuation and next moment a ball of sand covered George. I got quite shocked seeing such skill. one look at such skill and one will know that this one of the best defense skill. This is one of best defense skill not because of its defensive power which I had no idea about it but the area it covered. The defensive skill of George gave his defense 360, he will able defend against any attack which came into his way. I am a little confused though, this skill may be one of the best defensive skill but from what I am seeing, one can't move while using it. While activating this skill, George had made himself a sitting target, I can't seem to understand why he did that. The only plausible explanation is that he wants to make this matching tie, after defending using this skill for an hour. I will think about why he did this later but now I had to use this golden opportunity and launch as many attacks I can. Fire Strike. I attack again with Fire Strike, this time little differently than before. Instead of attacking different spot like last time, I released all the 6 bolts at the same spot, so, my mana bolts could leverage on the power of each other and my target is supposed place of his head. Pud puff puff. I did not hear anything except for my mana bolts piercing through the sand layer. I got a little disappointed seeing there is no change in my attack but I did not get disappointed by it and launched another attack as soon as I had enough mana. Fire Strike. Fire Strike. Fire Strike. I kept launching attacks one after another and after 6th time, I felt it is not going to work and to attack after getting closer when the sandball suddenly collapsed. After collapsing of the sandball, I saw George lying unconscious. At first, I did not understand how he became unconscious but after getting a clear look at his head, I understood all. Chapter 242 Future. His whole head is completely bloodied, one can not any dry spot or hair on his body. He looked like a red devil with his face colored red with his own blood. Small streams of his blood could be seen wetting the floor of the arena. If I did not see his nostrils flaring and chest heaving, I would have definitely thought I'd really killed him, seeing all this blood dripping down on his body. I know he is very alive but some people in the audience did not seem to think so. I could hear people talking I killed him and some people are not nondescript about it, even seeing medics feeding him the mana. While they were busy accusing me, I am busy thinking about how all my shots landed on his head to make him directly unconscious. After thinking for a while I came across the most probable answer. Most likely, after I leveled up and launched my first attack, it probably pierces through the defensive mace which he used as a defense and defensive mask he was wearing. After seeing the power and speed of my bolts, he knew there was no chance of running away as my bolts will easily catch up to him. So, he decided to use his trump card which is his sand globe defensive skill and pass the time, till our match became a tie. This skill of his provided 360 protection but remembering his size, I don't think one can move much when inside the sand globe. One can't even relive it when one inside that is how compact space inside the globe would have been. The guess I made about the position of his head was accurate, that is when I launched an attack after attack. My bolts passed through the defense without feeling obstruction of his head and his mask, injuring his head for good. He endured a few rounds of bolts but after some time, he wouldn't able to endure any more and fell unconscious. So, this much be what happens, I thought as walk toward waiting area amidst the cheer of the crowd, with the smile of earning one artifact that I am wearing on my body. I have to say, it felt really good to receive cheer of tens of thousands of people at the same time. I can now slightly imagine, how would it felt to this on the stage of the League of Heroes where the audience is 10 times more than this. I walked back to the training area and sat back on my seat and at that time, robots have already cleaned the George blood off the stage. I can't imagine how George would feel after he woke up. Beaten till he became unconscious, even leaving his blood on the stage, that out to hurt his self-esteem a little especially when the opponent's rank is much lower than his. A minute later another match is announced and surprisingly it was that of a perfect scorer and unsurprisingly, it ended within a 15-second. It was an absolute crush despite having a 3-layer defense of defensive skill, night grade artifact and rock skin ability he did not last for more than 15 seconds. That was really a battle. Battles were fought to get into the top 25, some were interesting while some downright bored where a participant did nothing more than make use of the huge area by running around it. I also got many congratulations from many of my friends, the one surprised me is from Ria. We kept contact even after getting out of the realm and some talk on social media. She is also participating in the competition of corporal stage and hoping to take the place in top 100. I sent good wishes to get into top 100, which qualifier matches are happening right now on the different venue. The competition for corporal stage is even harder than that of the specialist stage. Higher the stage is, tougher the competition became as it involves many stakes. The only competition of specialist stage is most carefree among all 4 competition, but the reward we get peanut compared to what they get. I took a sigh and did not think about that, as I now had a more important topic to stress about than this competition and its prices. I now finally had leveled up to the peak of specialist stage, and this is also the limit of what Ashlyn can reach due to her strain. Now, I have to find a way to break that strain limit. It is not impossible to break the strain limit, many people had done that and I can do as well. The important question is how. I had searched on the web for days, but it was futile, and when I asked Jim and Jill, they always said I had to reach my limit before they could answer the question. Now that I leveled up to the peak of specialist stage, which also may limit, I can know the answer. I plan on asking them tomorrow. The quicker I will know the answer, the quicker I can try to break the limit. Right after I had won my match, I had reviewed the congratulation message from Jill and Jim, who were sitting in the audience. Both of them had come here to support me despite their busy schedule. More and more matches went on, and in the blink of an eye, 24 matches are over. Only one match remaining to be fought before the top 25 could be announced. Because it is the last match before the top 25, its hype increased more and the audience started to cheer loudly before they could even reach the stage. The match started with great applause and both of the participants had started with their best move. There is another aspect of this fight that made it more interesting, that the difference in strength between 2 opponents is really less. There is only a difference of 1 rank between them and both of them own 5 skills each. This probably is the reason the organizer chose to be the last match in the top 50. Both of them didn't disappoint and started fighting tooth and nail, never stopped to amaze the audience with the fight. While watching, I also compare myself to them and thought, how would I react if this move used against me? This is what I had picked up in recent days, and I think it helping a lot. It is already proved that visualizing the fight in mind help a little, but one also had to strength to back it up moves he visualize, otherwise it can only become one's fantasy. The fight went on for straight 25 minutes before the girl revealed her trump and struck viciously, ending the fight single move. I cheered loudly seeing her move. This is called the real trump card. When you used it, it will strike the opponent dead before he knew it. Next second the list of top 25 is revealed, with my name also in it, with many familiar faces that won their matches earlier. Chapter 243 1 Minuet I. As I go over the opponent, I thought they are not as difficult as they used to be. This was probably because I leveled up in power of my night grade skills. Power had increased exponentially. Of the 25 opponent, only 6 till now had shown enough power to block my fire strike. I try hard enough and my luck is good, I may have a chance to beat them all. Before leveling up, my only dream to reach the level up, but now I am dreaming about being champion. It all happened because of single level up, and distance between me and other opponents had shortened exponentially. It would not have been possible before, but now it is possible. As time passed, I saw many holowatches of participant around me kept buzzing, so is mine, but the buzzed I've been waiting for did not come. My holowatch currently buzzing with many sponsorships offers an invitation from the organizations, but the invitations that I had been waiting for did not come. I did not receive the single mail from the top organization, not even mail for regular membership, much less an elite one. I can't seem to understand this. From common sense, I should be able to revive the elite membership of top 7 organization as soon as I got into the top 50, but I've received none, nada. I first did not have much interest in a becoming member of any organization, but after knowing the benefits one received, I could help but want to be their member. The one point sold me out most is being a chance to become the super elite. Other organizations also have super elite, but their quantity and quality could not compare to the top 7 organizations. I have a dream to become stronger that super elite, but in order to surpass the super elite, I first had to gain the power to contend against the super elite. Times passed and soon the half hour is over and competition started again. I was quite laid back on my seat, but just as I saw my name, I jumped up. I did not expect to be the first one to fight against in top 25 round would be me, but I am happy it is me. I have to win this fight and do well, especially if my performance is good enough, then I could be one of the 7 who could skip the next round. As after this top 25 round, there will be 13 people remaining, but there is only space for 10 people to make up for the top 10 and revive its price. So, those 6 people who have the lowest score will fight each other, and 3 winners will be added to the rest of the 7 top make the 10 participants for top 10. My opponent's previous rank 15 in the assessment of top 1000. He is the same age as me and is elite of top 7 organization. He had shown 5 night grade skills so far, and his most distinctive is his speed type skill, which accentuated his lightning ability. He is one of the fastest participants amongst the 25 people. I smiled seeing his info. Let's see if you are capable enough to dodge my fire bolts. As I got into the area, I found he is already there waiting. He did not say anything except for giving me a look which I can't seem to identify. As I reached the center of the arena, I activated all my artifact, covering my body fully with the layer of protection. Tong. The tong rang out indicating star of battle, and without waiting my opponent came toward. As mana fluctuation spread out, I saw his legs covered in lightning as he came toward me with his butterfly sword. He really is one of the fast participants, I exclaimed as I saw him coming toward. George Speed, who I though am really fast, is really pale compared to him, as my this opponent's speed is about 30 to 40% faster than him. Seeing him coming toward me, I launched my attack. A single moment of lateness could cost me this battle, especially against an opponent whose speed is so damn fast. Fire Strike. I launched 6 bolts of Fire Strike together. Unlike last time, this time I did not launch my fire bolts at a different part of the opponent's body. If I do that, there is a slight chance he will be able to dodge my bolts in time, seeing his speed and reaction. This time I launched the 6 bolts widely. I launched them wide enough to cover all his exits. No matter how fast he is, he will surely be hit by at least one fire bolt of mine. He seemed to activate his defensive skill as soon as he sensed fluctuation from me. When bolts left my sword, he was only 2 meters away from me. The lateness of a single moment and attack of that butterfly blade would be on my body. Just as I released bolt, I took the huge sip of mana, the biggest one I've ever taken, as next few attacks would take a lot of mana and I will not have enough time drink the potion for mana. He had quickly changed his direction in the intention of surviving against my attack, but his speed is too slow compared to my bolts. No matter how much he tries to dodge, at least 2 bolts will definitely hit him. Fuz Pucci. I am right, but also a little sword. At last moment, he dodges the bolt which going to pierce his waist, and bolt was only able grazed by the defensive layer of his armor. He was lucky at 1 bolt, but he was not lucky for another, that moved toward his shoulder. When it collided against the defensive layer of skill, it was not able to stop it even for a moment. The defense type skill of his clearly inferior that of George, which able to stop the bolt for the slight moment. After breaching defensive layer of skill, the bolt completely disregarded defense of his armor and pierced his shoulder. Just as bolt pierces his shoulder, a clear look of horror appeared on his face and he ran away without waiting. Fire Strike. I again launched the attack. He made a mistake running away. If he had continued with his attack, he would be pierced by some of the bolts of mine, but his attack also landed on me and at such close distance with his attack type skill. My injuries would have sure greater than his, and by luck, it had to launch the second attack, then I would have been finished by him. This was a risky gamble for me, but it paid off as he ran away. Now I can comfortably launch an attack on the single spot while he tries it all to dodge my attack. With mana I have in me and lethality of my mana bolts, this match should be finished in a minute. Fire. Cheer, cheer. I walk out of the arena enjoying the cheer of the audience while my opponent lying on the ring with numerous holes in his body. Who told him to run away? That was the biggest mistake that cost him his defeat within a minute. Chapter 244 Bloodline Limi. I hope my fight was good enough to let me skip the next round and get me directly into the top 10. I shook my head at such thought. Mine was the first match. There is 11 more before I can say my performance is good enough to get me that spot. The next match started as soon after I sat back on my place. I watched them carefully as I will fight one of them for my next fight. When I finally saw the trump card of participants, I got quite startled. I have to say my initial assessment of them quite wrong after some of them revealed their final trump cards. They are stronger than I had imagined, but I am still confident in beating them. One by one all the matches are finished and list for the next round announced. A bright smile appeared on my face as I saw that my name is not on the list. I am one of lucky 7 people who will not fight the next fight, as I directly got an entry in the top 10 because of a good score in a fight. Being in top 10 means, all artifact I am wearing is no longer alone, they have become mine now. Not only that, I will receive a night grade skill from my training center and 1 night grade artifact from the competition. I can believe the city council had been so stingy with price, especially against our specialist stage like us. Giving top 50 just ticket to Space Realm and top just 1 night grade artifact, even normal sponsor offer more than that. Soon the 6 fights are over and top 10 had been decided. The next round, and little different as who your opponent would be, decided by you and your luck. As all 10 participants have to take the ball from the jar, and those 2 who will have the same number will have to fight. There is still an hour break before fights of the top 10 begins. There is a message from Jill, telling me that she is in a private lounge cafe. Seeing I have enough time and already studied my opponent enough that I can recall everything about them, I decided to meet and might as well use this chance to ask her about how to break the strain limit. In 2 minutes, I reached the cafe and spotted Jill sitting on the table alone drinking coffee. The Jill I am seeing now is completely different than the one 3 months ago. All the extra fat she had on her body is completely gone, transforming her to the slim beauty, same level that of Sarah and Ellen. She still looked cute though, because of those beautiful big blue eyes of her. "You battles were really amazing," said Jill as she hugged me before sitting back on her table. "Well, thank you," I replied and ordered something for me. "How's your brother, still grounded?" I asked. Both siblings were grounded to the Space Realm fiasco 3 months ago. When she met me a week ago, she told me they will have a chance to get released from their punishment as both of them had made sufficient progress. "No, Auntie is still not satisfied. My brother will get free from a week or 2, but I will have to keep training for a few months more as Auntie thinks I am still not powerful enough to pass super elite training successfully," Jill said complainingly, but her expression seemed pretty shrugged about it. I am shocked hearing that, from what I know from here and there. I know that super elite training has only 3 months of training and 90% of it nothing more, pushing people to create maximum seals of supreme combat exercise. It is not a big secret. The big secret is rest 10% of super elite training, as that is what makes them super elite. Only high echelons of organizations and those who experience know about it. As for what Jill said, means she had a chance of clearing super elite training, that is very rare. Most of the no one clears super elite training. Clearing it means becoming super elite right in the training. Even her brother wasn't able to do that. He was only able to become a full super elite after he ate a piece of mystical medicine I gave him and be able to finish some last condition, became super elite because of that. But what Jill is saying, that she has a chance of becoming super elite in the training, and that's really something. "Keep up the hard work," I said, and did not ask about that subject anymore. We talk some light subjects before I remember the important question that I have to ask her. "So, now that I finally level up, won't you tell me how to break the strain limit?" I asked. Heavy anticipation could be heard through my voice. He faces somber as I asked this question and placed the spoon back in her plate before taking a sigh. "I would have preferred to tell you this after the competition, but now that you asked, I might as well tell you here," she said. "This secret must involve something important to make her this series. The strain limit, as you know, is actually called bloodline limit, and the limit that experiencing on level up is the false limit," she said. I looked both startled and skeptical. Startled because it is my first time hearing word bloodline, and skeptical because she said the limit on the level is not the true limit. "False limit?" I asked her to clear away my doubt. "I don't know much about, just that the first bloodline limit of monster is a false limit. Only several stages one will experience the true limit, that is the limit near impossible to break," she said while looking me intently. I can understand her to look, she looks probably saying that couldn't I just take a better monster? A monster with on stage higher strain that Ashlyn would have been fine as at corporal stage I would have been able to bond with my second monster by then. I gave her a smile and didn't say much. True limit is not important to me as long as I'm able to break this false limit, I'll be able to level up to corporal stage. The main focus of my should be breaking this false limit on Ashlyn's strain. To break this false limit, you have to create a very deep body where the death of you is the death of it and the death of its death of you and had to overcome a danger together with your monster that chances of you surviving is very minute, she said. Her description is not perfect but I understood the gist of it. That is why probably most of the people bond with the monster that had corporal stage strain. Only in a remote town like ours, people bond with monster low level as they had no aspirations for the future. Jill later explained the whole process in details she got from her father, which she proudly declared one of the most knowledgeable men in West Blood. As for what Jill said is simple, Ashlyn and I have to walk into the death's door, an impossible danger that we had never experienced before, and try to break limit in that condition as only in extreme life and death could one break the limit. There is an easy way where you can save yourself such trouble and relaxedly level up, Jill said smilingly. My heartbeat accelerated hearing that the first way had a very high chance. If there is a way where I could save myself from near dying, then I will be very happy to do that, no matter how expensive that way is. What is it? I asked hastily, unable to contain my voice. Eat a miracle fruit that helps you level up, she said in a serious voice but soon started laughing. Don't joke, I said annoyingly and admonishing myself for getting too excited. It's not a joke, miracle fruit really helps in breaking the false limit. Breaking true bloodline limit is a completely different matter though, said Jill, confirming the joke she is not but the truth. I was a little annoyed at first but soon though, it might be possible for me to eat miracle fruit with Ashlyn help. To others, it might be difficult for others to encounter the miracle fruit, but I have a slight chance with the help of the Ashlyn. But I don't think I will able to find miracle fruit in the Republic. The environment is not suitable enough for miracle fruit to grow. Only space realm where is dense mana exit, only such place can produce a miracle, and currently only space realm I could enter Minerva space realm, which will open in 14 months. Looks like I have no choices but do it the hard way. After talking a few more minutes with, I walk bulk to participant area as a competition about resume in a few minutes. Unbeknown to Michael, when he left, Jill walked to the corner of the cafe, sat next to beautiful women in her 30s. The women are so beautiful to topple the cities, but not a single person chose to talk to her. They would even skirt around to avoid her table for some reason. So, Auntie, what do you think of my friend? Jill asked excitedly to the beautiful women. Chapter 245 Finale. Jill asked her aunt. She wanted to bring Michael to her organization for some time because potential she saw in him, but she didn't get a chance till now. Her organization is a little different from other organizations. It is a neutral organization which always stayed away from power struggle of other organizations. The process of recruiting of their organization is little different than others. That is always why they have very few numbers. Their numbers are even less than Shadow Rogues, who have minimum numbers than any other organizations. Your friend is quite good, he would have been very suitable for our organization, but sadly, he has no future, her aunt said with a sigh. Jill shocking hearing this. It is Michael potential that made her want to recruit him in her organization, otherwise no matter how good friend he is, she would have not forced her aunt to come here to see the performance of Michael. He hasn't received an invitation from the 7 organizations, right? Said her aunt. I could help but not hearing this, as Michael also lamenting how he did not receive an invitation from the top 7 organizations. What is the reason? I asked. A huge potential, Michael. The only flaw he has is that monster of his. As long as he overcame the false limit, which she had full confidence in him, he can bond with another monster which had a high-level bloodline. Now, that my aunt is saying that he had zero potential and not worth recruiting, this really stumped me. Fat monster syndrome, said my aunt. Just as I heard these words, my body shook heavily. These words could produce terror in anyone's heart. Those who fell into this syndrome are very unlucky, especially those who have low-strain monster. I don't quite remember the technical name of the fat monster syndrome, but it isn't a syndrome that one is born with but a syndrome one gets after one bonded with the monster. Normally before the bonding, the human had a single box of mental space which is then taken by the monster after one had bound with it. After one level to corporal stage, one produces another block of space which can house another monster. Normally people won't bond with a monster right away after leveling up to corporal stage as mental space little weak and put a lot of strain on one's progress, but one can still bond with the corporal stage. As for what fat monster syndrome does is that the first monster you had bonded would take over the second place also, leaving no space for another monster. Not only it occupies second space that opened up at the corporal stage, it even occupies space which opens space at the lieutenant stage, colonel grade or so. Once space is occupied, it can be returned even if the monster were to die. One can't know before bonding that monsters would be a fat monster which took all the space. Also, this condition also sensed by lieutenant stage or above powerhouse. Michael's future is really bleak to bond with a fat monster and which have low-level bloodline at that. The fat monster would have been fine if the monster had a bloodline of corporal level. Michael still would have had bleak future, but with his low-level monster, his future is really bleak. With little hard work and luck, he would be able to break his false limit, but breaking the true limit is near impossible. I didn't hear anyone till now had broken the true limit on their monster's bloodline. Such a waste of potential by the wrong monster choice. Underscore 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 underscore. The competition had resumed and all 10 of went to the stage for the draw. The thing about bloodline limit, I had already put it in as all my focus on the black jar placed in the center of the stage. 6 people had already taken out their draw and now it is my turn. Gurgur, I put my hand in the opaque black jar and took out the first ball my hand touched. I kept wishing for the good opponent as I took out the ball out of the jar. Number 3. My heart took a huge beat as I saw this number. L. Cooper, she will be my opponent as both of our names projected on the screen. As I turned my neck to look at her, I also found her looking at me. Both of us looked at each other before looking away. I will have to try really hard to beat, and the best time would be the start of the battle. As long as my firebolt pieced her vital parts in the first 3 seconds, only then I will have a chance to win the battle. Soon after, everyone got their turn at the draw and returned to their seat except for the 2 who got number 1 in their draw. The first match is between perfect scorer Herman and Reynold, who just entered the top 10 after winning a match last round. The match was not that interesting as Reynold was not really an opponent of Herman. After barely surviving a minute, he had to surrender as Herman's sword on his neck. The second fight which started had become one of the best fights in the competition. It is Magnus versus Richard, the perfect scorer. Most of the people were betting on the Richard being winner, seeing he perfect scorer, but they couldn't be more wrong. As the battle started, it started going according to audience wishes. Richard started to suppress every move of Magnus, not even giving Magnus chance to react. I thought Magnus would lose a battle in a minute or 2, but suddenly Magnus' power sword and battle reversed. It was now Richard who was having a hard time, not only Richard able to launch an attack, but he kept receiving injuries, and in 5 minutes, he was thrown out of the stage by Magnus. This fight was really amazing, the best fight of competition so far, but now is not the time to think about it as it was my time to battle. As long as my firebolt hit her vital spots, then I am the winner. Jill earlier had said that no one in the competition had the defense skill which could stop my firebolt. So, my best strategy would be to attack her head and chest before she could launch an attack at me. Soon I and Elle stood in the center of the area and activated our artifacts. Elle's weapon is a little uncommon, like normal weapons like sword, saber, spear, etc. She used a whip as her weapon. I didn't underestimate it, seeing it's unconventional, seeing many people whipped by it very badly. Tong. The tong rang out, and without waiting I started to circulate Supreme Compute exercise to the fullest and swung my sword to launch my attack. Fire Strick. I was halfway into activating my fire strike as it took a fraction of a second to launch when I found something black coming toward me, and next moment it gripped my neck very tightly, which broke my activation of skill. Before I know it, I felt the heavy strain on my neck, and before I could do anything, I found myself flying in the air. Thud. I wanted to use the sky steps to stop my momentum, but it's too late as I crashed out of the arena with the thud. What just happened? I asked myself as I dazedly went back to my seat in the participant area. The fight is over in a second and I still have no idea what happened. Only when I watch my battle in slow motion on my holowatch did I understand what happened in the arena. It turned out just as the battle started, both of us activated our skills. Her skill activated faster. Her skill was the rare supportive type, which merged with her whip, which made it faster and stronger. Before I know it, the whip gripped my neck and flunked me out of the arena. It's really humiliating, though I did not have any anger toward Elle as she did what she has to do to win the battle, but I still felt humiliated for being so weak that I couldn't launch the single attack before being defeated. The competition passed in a blur as I watched the fights without much concentrating on them. When I fully came to myself, I found the final battle is being fought between Magus and Elle. Their fight really did justice to final and lasted for 55 minutes, with Magnus being the winner by a small margin. I stayed till the end and got my reward, and when I went back to my apartment after much difficulty of my new fans, I found the same lady from the training center waiting by my door. Chapter 246. 14 months later. Poochie. My sword pierced through the eye of peak-level corporal stage monster. I have been fighting it for 10 minutes and only now I was able to kill it. This time fighting it, I did not use any skill or ability but purely killed it with my physical strength. That is quite an admirable feat even for myself. It has been 14 months since West Blood competition had ended, but there is not much change in my strength on the surface. I am still at the peak of corporal stage. The biggest was that knowing fat monster syndrome. Ever since the competition, I found Jill was acting little weird. I felt like she is hiding something from me. Finally 5 months ago, I wasn't able to control myself and asked finally what is wrong with her. Only then did I come to know about the fat monster syndrome. I didn't react much after hearing that, as that time first thing on me is to break the false limit and level up. Even now I still haven't felt the gravity of the fat monster syndrome as I still occupied in breaking the false limit. When Jill told me the way to break the limit, I thought it would be dangerous, but I will able to do it within 6 months, but now 14 months had passed and I am still at peak of the corporal level stage. The monster I just killed now is one of the subspecies of flaming bull. Other than its anger, it is known for being delicious. I had searched for it the whole afternoon and only 15 minutes before I was able to find it. I had planned to make a dish out its meat in the evening. It has been 5 days, I've returned to my hometown to relax, as a week later, the Minerva realm will open and I plan to go inside it despite it being dangerous for a specialist grade. Now Minerva realm is my only choice. It contains both ways of me to level up. It has sufficient danger which could help me break the limit and also has mana dense enough to produce a miracle fruit. In this past year, I've tried all to break the limit. I've even gone against Master Stage Monster and barely able to survive. I've tried all the ways I could think of, some were even downright crazy, but despite all that, I wasn't able to break the limit. In this process, I've killed thousands of monster and most of either peak corporal or sergeant stage monsters. I had become an obsession of me which sometimes drive me mad, made me do things that would do when I had a sober mind. What made it worse than all of my friends have had reached a peak of corporal stage. Even Ron, whom I have seen only one time since graduation, had reached a peak of corporal stage unexpectedly, while I am still stuck at the specialist stage, trying my all to level up so I could keep my head high and walk equally with them. Taking a sigh, I started to skin the monster. Dub. I released the fireball to burn the parts of the useless monster parts and started to run back toward the town. Choo-choo. Ashlyn, who's sitting on the branch, also followed me, seeing me running back to town. The monster around my town really weak. For corporal level monster I had to enter a little deep. At my current speed, it will take me 2 hours to reach the town. I should be able to return home by the evening. In the way back, no weaker monster than corporal stage dared to come close to me or attack me. Well, in my somewhat crazy obsession to break the limit, I've killed so many monsters that I've developed some sort of threatening aura that kept the monster away. That's not all, I've made improvement in all except for level up. My fighting style is best amongst my friend including Jill who had become super elite unsurprisingly. I've created 2 more seals of supreme combat exercise and even brought a very good night grade speed type skill from the money I earned from killing the monsters. All my aspects improved except for the level up that I desperately want. After running for 2 hours, I saw the faint outline of the town wall and 5 minutes later I entered the town. Walking 15 minutes from the town wall, I reached my home. Click. I enter the house from the front door, only to find a very cute toddler playing with the blocks. "Brother," she said excitedly in cute toddler voice and ran toward me with unstable steps. I swooped her in my arms before she fell on the ground in her excitement and injured herself. "Give a brother some kisses, Alice," I said, and toddler in my arms started to shower my cheeks with the kisses. The cute toddler in my arms is my sister Alice who was born a year ago. We celebrated her 1-year birthday just yesterday. "Brother sweets," Alice said cutely in her toddler's voice after she finished giving me her kisses. "Anything for my cute little sister," I said and gave her a small packet of jelly beans from my pocket. Her already puffed cheeks puffed even more as she started munching on the jelly beans while still in my arms. "Michael doesn't give her snacks non-stop," said my mother as she came holding a bottle of milk. "Okay, Mom," I said, but we both know that I didn't mean that even a bit. We both know that I rarely said no to my sister. Whenever she asked for sweets I gave it to her, especially when it comes to food. That is why I have tens of packets of her favorite food in my storage. After giving her some kisses, and I put down a little bundle of joy and went to freshen up. When I came back from freshening, I found Alice is playing with Ashlyn. Ashlyn did not like other people much, but she liked my sister very much. That is why she will let Alice smolder her with an embrace and wouldn't fly away like her parents when her smothering gets too much. Seeing it started to dark, I unloaded some monster material on the kitchen table and started to cook. A few months ago, to divert my stress and frustration, I started to take a weekly cooking class and it turned out, I am quite good at it. The cooking instructor even praised me and said I should become a chef if retired from adventuring. "Need any help?" I heard my father's voice behind me. "No, all is done," I replied as I nearly finished cooking. My father nodded and took seat chair and started to read something from his holowatch. In the whole year, the biggest change occurred in my father. Due to him fanatical about his research, he went beyond my imagination is circulating supreme combat exercise. Even my progress, which is quite good according to my level, seemed quite puny in front of him as crossed the magic line that stumped a lot of people. Chapter 247. 14 months later too. He had created and surpassed the 10 seals, which stumped all the people. Creating the 10th seal is not a simple thing. After one created 8 seals, one starts to feel like some kind of resistance including pain. That's why after I created my 8th seal 9 months ago, I am now stuck in the second move to create the 9th seal. No matter how much I try circulating for supreme combat exercise, I felt that grueling resistance whenever I circulate the exercise, and as the time passed the pain became even more intense that one can't continues after that. My father said that this resistance is a natural barrier and the resistance is even greater for those whose age in less than 20. The reason because our mana veins hadn't fully developed yet and circulated mana into undeveloped mana veins going be difficult than normal, but also became of that when one lesser than 20 able to create the 10th seal, he gets more benefits than the adults. After creating the 10th seal, all seals of supreme combat exercise go through change and they brought immense benefits to the creator. My father is a clear example of that. Then the 10th seal brought visible change in his body. Not only he looked much younger than before, he is very much stronger. In terms of physical power, my father is way stronger than me. It's a blessing that my father has no interest in fighting and all he did that for the sake of his research. He had even converted shed in the backyard as his lab where he could daily circulate supreme combat exercise and collect data with 10 machines which are lying around in the shed. "Dinner ready," I shouted and started making a table for everyone. What a feast! Another feast said excitedly as she came holding Alive in her arms. I've come home every month, especially stay for a week since my precious sister is born. So, ever since I've taken cooking classes, I've always cooked whenever I come home. I've most of the time brought cooking ingredients from Westblood, but sometimes I hunt for them also, like today. It's tasty as always. Choo choo. My mother and Ashlyn praised as they started to eat. All of them very concentrate on enjoying the food except for my baby sister. She is playing with her food and eating only when Mom glover at her. How long your special training last? Asked my father while taking the bite of his food. I had already told them that my fake organization sending me to the special training in the space realm. I can't tell them that I am going to the Minerva realm. A simple search on their holowatch will tell them how dangerous the Minerva realm is. I don't like lying to my parents, but sometimes lying is better than telling the truth. A little more than a month, I replied. The timing which Minerva realm opened for isn't fixed. Sometimes it opened for 20 days, sometimes 30 and 35 days. I will only know the definite answer on the day of the opening, which is a week later. Brother leaving? Alice said in her toddler language. Her cheeks are puffed red and little water in her eyes could be seen. If I didn't say something good to pacify her next moment, then I will have heard her cry. Of course not, precious, I will never leave my precious sister, I said and pinched her cheeks lovingly. Her cheeks turned normal and she started to eat her food again, seeing Mom is looking at her. Rest of dinner went well as we did not talk about a heavy subject as leaving in front of Alice. Every time I've come to visit, Alice became very happy, but the time of leaving is a nightmare. She always cries when she saw me leaving, and that time making her quiet is a really tough job. After dinner, I played with Alice for a while before she started feeling sleepy and Mom took her to her crib to sleep. How is your research going? I asked my father. It going quite great. I should be able to finish preliminary in half a year, said my father. Well, it's good, I said with a smile. My father research speed faster than expected, and if higher-ups are not that dumb, then he will receive a certification of grade 2 doctor in 6 months also. This is the only preliminary research and he wishes to do more. I have already transferred 10 million into my parents' account forcefully a month ago, which will be enough for his take course and do research for his grade 3 doctor certification. Unlike my father, my mother did not have much interest in the field of medicine. She became a doctor just because it gave her a normal and simple life, but now I could see lodging in her eyes to do something fruitful, seeing my father passionately pursuing his dream. I hope she would find her passion as well, just like my father. I talked with my parents for an hour more before going into my room to sleep. Hum hi hun. Humming my favorite tune, I changed into my pajamas and laid on the bed. It is quite early for me to sleep, and even if I tried, I will not fall asleep this early. Knowing this, I opened one book from my holowatch and started to study it. In this past year, except for the crazily pursuing level up, the thing I most did is to study this book. The Complete Mysteries of Totem. I found this book on remains of the human body, at the start of my adventure in the Westblood city. Ever since then, I would study this book whenever I got the time, and in the past year, I keep studying it even more. It a very complex book and I had to spend more than 1.5 years just to understand the introduction, but now that part is over and studying of runes has finally begun. After studying the runes for a few days, one thought came into my mind that I've had underestimated these runes way too much. Runes are a representation of world laws. Each and every rune is very complex and elusive. I have spent days just to get a basic understanding of these runes. They are equally exciting as they are difficult, and studying them aided me a lot mentally as it zapped all my mental stamina in an hour of just studying them. After constant studying of these runes, I had noticed a small change in me. I have become a lot calmer and my control over my ability also increased as well. As I was studying, an idea flashed through my mind. Why don't I give this book my parents to study, especially my mother, to see if she had any interest in studying it? It would be good if she produced some interest in it. I studied the book for an hour and unconsciously fell into sleep without closing the book in my holowatch. Chapter 248 Fire Flash Eye. I am leaving today by the evening train. It'd been quite good to spend some time with the family, but now it is time to back to the real world. Minerva Realm would open in 6 days, and for that, I still have many preparations to make. Most importantly, I have to buy a speed type of skill. Currently, I have 3 knight grade skills: combat type, strength type, and defense type. After the competition over, the training center had given me a knight grade skill as they promised. Just that, the skill was little peculiar. That skill said to be one of weakest skill but also one of the strongest skill amongst low-level knight grade skill. The skill they gave me is strengthening the type of skill, which uses mana and vitality both to activate, and the amount of vitality is to become sufficiently powerful can only be gotten by 10 or more seals of supreme combat exercise. Currently, its power barely reaches the power of knight grade skill. It will only its full strength after I create 10 or more seals of supreme combat exercise. My second skill, I brought about a year ago from the money I got from the sponsoring and little monster hunting. It is defense type skill, which I had desperately needed it. It cannot be said to be best or worst amongst the knight grade skill. It is medium, but it does quite a good job protecting me from the dangers. The last skill I have, attacks type skill Fire Strike, which needs no introduction. Now the only skill I need is speed type skill. If I can combine the speed of my fire jets with speed type skill that I will buy, then I am confident no one could match my speed within the same level as me, no matter how powerful their low-level knight grade skill is. I sighed and walk out bed to freshen up. This will be last time I spend some time with my family before going to the Minerva Realm. The realm is very dangerous, and I also wish to take risk of my own to make the breakthrough. Minerva Realm is the best chance for me to break false limit. If I hadn't able to do it there, then I don't know how much time it will take for me break the limit. Shaking my head, I walk toward the kitchen to make breakfast. It is still early morning and my parents should wake up soon. I should start making breakfast. Time passed by. From morning came afternoon and finally the evening. We just finished the early dinner and now I am packing my stuff as I have to leave for the railway station. I finished packing everything and now it is time to leave. When I went to the hall, I found my parents already sweating and Alice playing with Ashlyn. "Already?" asked my father. I nodded. My mother picked Alice in arms and we all walk out of our house and entered the hover car that is already wearing outside our house. The ride to the train station is silent. The only one who made the sound is Alice as she looked outside the window. In 10 minutes we reached the railway station and sat on the bench waiting. There is still 40 minutes till the train arrive. To pass the I played with Alice, who is in my arms. "How cute," said a boy of 9 years seeing Ashlyn. I am not surprised by hearing such praise as Alice received it a lot. With her big green eyes, chubby baby cheeks and small ponytail, Alice looked very cute that everyone wants to pinch her cheeks and shower with her kisses. Time passed by and I saw the train leading in the station. Brother will miss you." I showed her cheeks with multiple kissed and handed her a small exquisite box into her chubby hands. I gave quick hugs to my parents and walk into the train while waving my hand at them. "Brother." "Wah wah." I heard Alice calling me in her toddler's voice before started crying loudly. All I could do wave through train's glass and hope she would notice a small exquisite box in her. It is a box of her most favorite sweets, the sweets she liked most. A minute later the train started and next second, I lost the sight of my sister and parents. Wiping the tears that formed in my eyes, I walked toward my seat. I've come to town more than 10 times in near 2 years, but tears could help but form in my eyes every time I've left. Getting my emotion in control, I sat back on my seal and just tried to sleep, so when I woke up tomorrow, I will be near West Blood. Usually, I don't sleep early, but due to being emotionally tired, I fell into sleep in minutes. Next morning, I was awakened by Ashlyn pecking on my cheek, and when I checked the time, only half an hour remained till the train reached the West Blood Stadium. Seeing that, I got up and freed up to get rid of the sleepy feeling. Soon the train reached the station and I get out of it with Ashlyn. The hover car was already waiting when I get out of the station to take me to my apartment. 10 minutes later the hover car stopped front from a silver skyscraper and I get out of it. This is my new apartment building. I had rented an apartment in it when I moved out of the training center 2 months ago. Through the elevator, I quickly reached my apartment on the 121st floor. This is the most expensive apartment I've ever rented. If my parents heard it, they will surely be shocked. Its rent alone cost me 200,000 credits, but it's worth it seeing the services the building offers. It had a training facility compared to the training center, not only that it has a spa and other beauty care facilities as well. This apartment is also a studio-style apartment, but it has 3 times more space than that of my old apartment in the training center. Here I can walk around without any stuff obstructing and space congestion. The most distinctive feature of my apartment is the view. I get quite a good east side view of the Westblood from my apartment. Putting down my backpack, I directly went for the bath. I have a lot to do today, and the most important thing of all is buying the skill. I would have brought it a week ago before going home, but Jill stopped me, saying every time before any big realm were to open, new stocks of skills appear in the market week before it. That it is the reason why I did not bring the skill week ago despite having the money. I hope the wait of the week will worth the skill, as I will only have 6 days to learn the skill before Minerva Realm opened. After coming out of the bath, I changed into new cloths, finished the lunch that I had ordered before getting out apartment with anticipation. Chapter 249 Fire Flash 2. All the stores that sell the night grade skill are in the central ring. There are no such shops like that in the middle ring. Only the sergeant stage or above could enter such stores freely, while those below that have to have a membership of the stores. Thankfully I got the membership with the help of Jill's reference. I had taken a fast hover car, but it would still take me 15 minutes to reach the store. I hope the wait worth it. It would be very sad if there is no new good skills appeared on the stone. The hover car flew through the big walled gate of the central ring, and whole view in front of me completely changed. It's not my first time coming to the central ring, but every time I see it, I couldn't help but take a sigh of admiration. The central ring feels like a completely different city, compared to skyscrapers in the other 2 rings. Building in the central rings were not very tall. The tallest building in the central ring is 50 stories tall, but every building elegant and beautiful. The one who resides in the central ring is the real powerhouses of the Westblood city. The people in the single block of the central ring are capable enough to raise the other 2 rings of Westblood. It is the people of the central ring which are the main force fighting the monster horde that attacked the city, while others act as a force to deal with the fodders. Soon my hover car reached the store. The store is egg-shaped building which is only 7 stories tall. I get out of the hover car and walked into the building. There are usually a lot of people can be seen coming and going out of shop. Seeing that, I am not surprised. Like me, they also waited this day so they could buy the best skill that the store has to offer. There are 2 master stage guards at the front entrance. One of them started to lift his hand to stop me, but before his hand fully upped, I projected my store membership card in front of him. He dropped his hand and let me enter the store unobstructed. The first floor has the beautiful crystal interior. Whoever designed it is very talented. The low-level night-grade artifact placed on the crystal shelves, while information and visuals of skills are projected from the crystal pillars. There are 7 floors in the shop, but my access would let me only buy things from only the first floors. Only those with special membership like Jill could shop on the 2nd floor or above, and those who do not have a membership will have at master stage at least. As I entered the 1st floor, I heard the loud murmur, and when saw the reason behind it, I myself couldn't help but shocked. Totem artifact. There are 9 crystalline cases are floating in the air, and inside it are totem artifacts. There are a sword, saber, spear, armor, and other type of totem artifacts. One can clearly differentiate totem artifacts and normal artifact after taking one look. Totem artifact is just different, and they also look different. Totem artifact is made by Lieutenant Stage and above Powerhouse and Stage of Totem. The artifact is dependent on at what stage their creator died, leaving them behind. The totem artifacts in front of me are clearly left behind Lieutenant Stage Powerhouse, but that did not diminish their values. Their value even surpassed mid-grade artifact, especially to who are below the Lieutenant Stage. I am quite surprised seeing they selling them on the 1st floor, as normally on the 1st floor is just regular low-level artifact and skill are sold. The better low level of artifact and skills are found in the 2nd level, and totem artifact usually sell at 3rd floor with medium grade skills and artifacts. Of all 9 different artifacts, one I liked most is simple wall armor dress. It looked like it is made using pearl wall scales of some monster. The owner of this totem artifact must have paid a really high price for materials to create such a beautiful dress. This simple wall armor dress, but if its owner would have more time, she should have made it even more beautiful than its current form right now. The armor dress is still beautiful, and that is the reason why the bidding on it is highest. It had already reached 4 billion credits. Normally Lieutenant Stage Totem Artifact sells around 2 to 4 billion, but its bid had already reached 4 million. There are 5 days, in those 5 days, its bid would definitely rise near the 6 billion. Moving my gaze, I checked the other totem artifacts. They are good on their own right. Totem artifact created by Lieutenant Stage powerhouses, and he or she would always choose the best materials for their totem so they could give them the best enhancement. I hope I will able to enter the Lieutenant Stage. After studying that book, I have a pretty good idea about the whole totem making the process. Seeing these totems, I also wanted to create my totem, and sometimes I even think about what type of totem I would create. Sighing, I looked away from totems, walked towards the speed type night grade skill section. I had already seen all the old skills, so I did not waste my time and directly walked toward the new arrivals. On the new arrivals, their 7 skills are placed, which projecting their information and visual. Of 7 skills, 3 are neutral, which could be used by anyone, no matter which ability they have, while the 2 needs wind type ability and 1 needs fire and lightning respectively. I read the description of 3 neutral type skills first. Reading their description, there is not much change in my expression. The power of the skills is within my expectation, as they do not offer much enhancement compared to other skills on the old shelf. I was not hoping for a skill which gave me faster speed compared to other skill in old shelf, as I know that is impossible. Those skills which could give faster speed are on the 2nd floor. The main reason I was willing to wait as I am hoping for the skill that would offer something different than just fast speed. Like a higher level of mobility, even if that came from sacrificing speed a little. That would help in dodging a lot of attacks from the opponents and monsters. Most of speed type skill provide high speed but gives very less freedom of mobility. If you want mobility, then you have to practice until you can enough control over skill for you to perform some mobile actions while using the skill. The other 3 skills are no use to me, as they need lightning and wind ability. Now the only skill left is skill named Fire Flash, which uses fire ability for speed, and I hope it will be good, as it is common sense the best skill for you is a skill that uses the ability you have. Chapter 250 Preparations. Hay are best due to they used less mana than the neutral type skill and also easier to control. Fire Flash, this skill which uses fire ability to create an aura of fire around the body, which gave it a speed. As I further read the introduction, I couldn't help but smile. This skill provides an average speed, but because of the aura it spread around the body, one can control this skill very easily. This indirectly meant that this skill is better at mobility. After reading the description and watching its visual one more, I decided to buy this skill. The price of this skill is 156 million. The price of normal low-level night grade skills is between 100 to 200 million, and 156 million seemed quite reasonable to me. Ting. Without waiting, I flashed my holowatch in the crystalline surface and the transaction is completed. I really wanted to buy 1 attack type skill, but I am really short on the money. If I would have not brought those fake potion in desperation, now I would had more than enough money to buy 1 attack type skill. Jim had warned me many times to not to believe in any potion that could break the false limit. There is no such potion, at least not in our continent. Still, I did not listen to him and brought such potion and thing in my time of desperation. I had opened more than 100 million on such fake things. As my power increased, I started to hunt powerful monsters. From that, earning money had become very easy. Just 2 bodies initial level specialist stage monster which I could easily kill with my fire strike would sell near million credits, but earning money is what I was focused on that past year. Breaking the limit is all I had in my mind and still is. The reason I am buying the speed type skill because I am going to the Minerva realm, and if I come across which way out my league, this skill would help me in running away. Normally I don't fight using the skill like that will not help me breaking the limit. Every time I went to the forest, I receive heavy injuries to the point all my bones are broke and I am bleeding from head to toe, but despite I am gone through these experiences, suffering the inhuman pain, I can't seem to break the limit. I shook my head to remove those sad thoughts out of my mind. Now my main focus should be Minerva Realm. I have a feeling that this adventure going to change my life forever. It is for good or bad, only time can tell. Seeing I still have enough time, I decided to roam the store to see what new it is offering. I still have enough money to buy an artifact if something caught my eye. At the end of the petition, I had all the fighting artifacts I need for the fighting. I even have 3 extra night-grade artifact as I got while artifact set from the training center. 1 is price money and last 2 were mine. The 3 of them I left home in my parents' care. My father could use them to protect his family in case he comes across any danger. In here there is not only fighting artifact, but there is also utility artifacts as well. Such as a tent. I had brought night grade tent 7th month ago from here as sometimes I spend time at the forest. It is very good, grade 1 tent could not compare to it. I browse many artifacts but none of them catches my fancy. Buying any of them would be useless as they will not help me in any way. After browsing artifacts, I moved back to the skill section to see if there is any new skill. If something really did catch my eye, I can always borrow money from Jim and Jill. Michael. I was just browsing through the strength type skills when I heard the sound behind me. I surprised to see it is Rhea who called me and even more surprised to sense she had already reached an initial level of sergeant stage. The difference between our level had grown a lot. In the space realm, there is only a difference of stage between us, but now it had grown into the different 2 stages. The difference may seem small but it is huge. Even if I was able to break the false limit, I will still be behind her by 2 stages. I will have to put double efforts I am putting right now to catch up to her. Rhea, I haven't seen you in months, I said as I gave her a light hug. It is near 6 months ago, Ivy saw her last. That time she was at the peak of the corporal stage but now she is at sergeant stage. I was sent to the Rhythm City branch, she replied. She also participated in the competition, the corporal stage 1, in which she got quite a good rank in the top 100, which is comparable top 10 in specialist stage. She got an offer from one of the top 7 organization, the White Deer, which she accepted. She must have become even more powerful now that she got formal training from the organization. Are you here to buy skill? I asked. With her being a member of the organization, she can get better skill and artifact from her organization. Only the stuff on the 2nd or 3rd floor might interest her a little. No, I am here with a friend. He wanted to make a bid at Totem Artifact, said and pointed toward the boy who seemed to be making a bid. He is tall and quite handsome as well, a perfect choice of boyfriend, and top of all that, he is at the peak of sergeant stage. We talked for a minute before the boy came back after making a bid. Steve, this my friend Michael, Rhea introduced. Steve just nodded at non-committally and left toward the 2nd floor. All Rhea could do is flash me an apologetic smile as she went with her boyfriend. I shook my head seeing this. I am not new to such behavior, I've experienced it many times. Those with higher stages would always look down on others, especially when the difference between the 2 stages is great and have no affiliation with any organization. Finding nothing interesting, I got out of the store and went back to my apartment. Having brought the most important thing, I just have to buy some miscellaneous things before my preparation is complete. The next 5 days, I plan on studying and practicing the skill until I am becoming proficient enough in it. Time passed by and in these 5 days, I did nothing but practice the skill and got a result better than I expected. Soon the morning of the 6th day came as I am checking things one more time in my storage and backpack. Seeing all things are ordered, I wore my backpack and walk out of my apartment for Minerva Realm. Chapter 251, Entering the Minerva Realm. I got out of my apartment building and sat on the hover car that I had already booked 3 days ago, so on time I didn't have to scramble for the hover car to reach for the place where Minerva Realm's entrance is. This hover car is special as it will not stop outside the city gate but will directly take me to the place where the entrance of Minerva Realm is. Minerva Realm is one of the realms that are open to all. Anyone can enter it as long as they buy the ticket of price 50 million. Hundreds of thousands of people enter Minerva Realm each time it opened, some go for a fortune while others go adventures and some like me go for the training. The realm is extremely dangerous with the master stage as its limit and the most important thing about it that it hadn't been completely explored. Minerva Realm is divided in Teupel regions and crossing off each region became unpredictable as it could send you to any part of that region. Thank God Jim and Jill both had given me the best map their organization has compared to their map. The map I brought from the market is absolute shit. It would take me 1.5 hours to reach the entrance, plenty of time to take a nap. Last night I didn't get much sleep as I was busy studying the maps that my friends had sent me. Zzzzzzzzz, I got awake by shaking off the hovercar seat. Yawningly I opened my eyes, but when I saw the scene in front me, my eyes couldn't help wide opened. What I see in front me is a sea of people. There must be more than 200,000 people here and thousands are coming minute. What Jim said really seems real right now. He said there will be near 1 million people will be entering the Minerva realm. I did not believe it when he said that, but seeing the numbers I couldn't help but believe it. The space realm that appeared in the Green Hills couldn't compare to the Minerva realm where about 8,000 people had entered. I wore the wild ceramic-style mask on my face before getting out of the hover car. This time I plan adventure alone. At least before I level up I won't be teaming up with anyone. Teaming up will waste my time and create only obstructions. There may be many people here. Everything is well organized. Any troublemaker would be dealt with in the minutes. I walked toward the stand number 243 as this is where I have to wait. From what Jim said, the entrance will materialize sometime around afternoon and that will be our time to enter the realm. The atmosphere is fully charged with the excitement. Fights of words or fist are seen now then despite having strict security around. After reaching stand number 243, I quietly sat on the empty seat in the corner away from any disturbance. Seeing this place has a network, I started to browse through my social media account as I wasn't able to do that in the past week. The whole week, I had been fully focused on training with my skill. I wanted to be proficient in using it before entering the realm. I liked and commented on photos of my friends that I like and also make a short chat with them. Everyone had posted something on their account except one. Her feed had been empty of any content for 2 months straight. 2 months ago Ellen said that she had been going to enter the private space realm of her organization for a few months, but it had been little more than 2 months, but there is no sign of her. Well, it would have been nice if she had come to the Minerva realm as many members of the organization from other branches had also come. 2 more hours passed and the intensity of people coming had increased more. If they kept coming at this speed, the numbers surely would cross Jim's estimation. League of Heroes. This is an indirect reason for this much of crowd. League of Heroes happened during every 10 years and is most watched competition across the Republic where millions participate across their cities for qualification for the main competition in the capital. People participate in the League of Heroes not just for glory and fame, they participate for the rewards as well. In the League of Heroes, even those at top 1000 receive Totem Artifact as a reward, which is 10 times better than the ones I've seen in the store 6 days. Then one can imagine what one will receive after entering top 500 or 100, much less after becoming a champion. Now there is little more than 3 years till the competition, but people had already started making the preparations. My greatest dream is also to fight in League of Heroes. Fighting on that level of the stage is all I've dreamed since I saw the final fight of the competition. More and more people kept coming and it started to get crowded. The Minerva realm should open at any minute. The wait going for another hour before I heard that the gate is opening. Please keep an order. Those who break it or create an obstruction for others would be dealt without mercy. A loud voice rang out in my ears. The voice was still bearable, but just as the voice stopped speaking, I felt suffocating pressure on my body. The pressure stayed for less than a second, but it was suffocating enough that it made my breathing stopped for a few seconds. I remembered to breathe when I felt suffocating in my chest. I thought it was my imagination, but when I looked around, I found everyone around me stopped in their tracks and the only sound could be heard is the sound of the rapid breathing. It took nearly a minute for people to came to themselves, but when they did not dare to make slight noise, especially adventurers, as they know, if this powerhouse killed them no one will question his decision. In front of a powerhouse like this, they worth nothing. Everything went orderly after that. People started the move toward the entrance as their number called out. I can't see the gate of the realm from where I am sitting, but one thing I am sure that it is big by the rate of the people disappearing. The crowd started to thin out at the amazing rate, but it will still take some time as there are million people here. Buzz. The buzz sounded on my stand, and it also lit up with the green light. That means, it is our time to go. I and people of stand lined behind the huge line and speedily moved toward the entrance of the realm. A few seconds later I saw the entrance of the realm, and as I had expected, it is big. It about 20 meters wide, and more than 100 people could easily go through it at the same time. Soon it is my turn to enter inside the gate. Taking a deep breath, I took the step inside the gate. Chapter 252 Region 3I. As my vision cleared, I found myself in the forest. There are tall trees around me and faint sounds of talking could be heard. The air around me feel fresh without any impurity. I feel like pores of my body opening with every breath, making me a moment younger. I am probably feeling due to the high mana density of this realm, mana density of this real. There are 10 some people around me looking around, trying to determine which part of Region 1 are we in. Those who pass through the realm gate will appear in various parts of Region 1. Region 1 is the smallest and safest region of 17 documented regions of Minerva Realm. This region is even safe for the specialist stage evolver, considering Minerva Realm considered extremely dangerous for the specialist stage evolver. Suddenly, I remember the important thing and quickly checked my holowatch and took a sigh of relief seeing the message there. It is an automatic message which will transmit as one crossed the realm. In here is noted the date exit will open again. 32 days. I have 32 days to return to Region 1 to place where they will open the realm exit again. I hope 32 days will be enough for me to level up. In this 32 days, I will try both ways of breaking the limit, either finding miracle fruit that will help me level up or breaking the limit by overcoming the danger with Ashlyn. Opening the map, I started to access the area I am. After looking at them for a few minutes, I pretty much confirmed where I am and how much time it will take me to reach my destination. Friend, do you mind teaming with us? It will be quite safe if we team up, what do you say? Asked a boy. He seemed to already made small group around him and poaching to team up with him. He seemed quite earnest, and with his power of peak of corporal grade, which is highest here, he also holds quite a sway. I shook my head to his proposal and walked away. Idiot. I could hear the minions around him cursing me for being an idiot. They are idiots, I said in my mind, especially the specialist stage evolvers. In such a group, when there is a sizable difference of power between two parties, the weaker party somewhat akin to slaves. In exchange for the protection and confidence of the group, the stronger party would always make weaker party do all the work and would only lift a hand when the task is too powerful for the weaker parties. When the danger comes, the strong ones would use weaker one as an expendable meat shield to get away for danger. I have seen it happen many times. Sometimes when I am in the mood, I would save them, but sometimes I would let them die of their idiocy. Minerva Realm is very dangerous, and only those should come who have the power of corporal stage evolver. Only those could somewhat guarantee their survival and gain some fortune after adventuring in safer regions. Choo-choo. Ashlyn comes out of me in loud chirp and started to fly in a circle around me. From her expression one can tell how happy she is being here. Only in the place like this, which have dense mana, have the fruit and herbs she likes. It will take me about 3 hours of walking to reach the Region 3, there I will begin my mission, break the limit. The Minerva Realm has 17 regions, they are numbered according to the danger they represent. Region 1 has the lowest danger while Region 17 have the highest danger. It is said that even super elite could be dead in the last 3 regions if he is not careful enough. Region 15, Region 16 and Region 17 are the regions which represented the highest dangers. They are so dangerous that they hadn't been explored even 5% till yet. Region 1 to Region 5 could be said for the corporal stage evolvers, Region 6 to Region 8 is for sergeant stage evolvers, and from Region 9 and above are for master stage evolvers could survive. This is just rough estimation, as from Region 5 every region had some corporal level monsters in them, just that they stayed in the secluded part of that regions, and a number of regions ascended, so are their quantity and danger with it. This classification is not for normal evolver but for the elite. Even some normal master stage evolvers would not dare to enter Region 9 seeing how dangerous it is. I will train in the Region 3 for 2 days before moving to Region 4, that's where most of my training will be concentrated. Shing! A metallic sound rang out when I swung my sword to block the projectile that is coming toward me. Whatever it is quite powerful, as am I still feeling shocked on my right hand. That thing had dispersed just as it attacks me, and that except for black metallic blue, I wasn't able to see anything but one thing. I am sure that it's some kind of monster. If it attacked once, it will attack again. I will just have to be more careful this time. Sup. I again heard a faint sound from my left side. Without looking, I whipped my sword toward the coming sound. I am not worried that my sword will miss. This past year fighting dangerous battle, my instinct and senses developed quite well. No matter what that thing is, it will be surely hit by my sword. Clank. Dub. My sword hit that thing without missing, but what surprised me that instead of getting cut in two, it flew like cannonball due to the force of my sword and burrowed into the tree trunk. I quickly ran toward the tree trunk lest it ran away quickly. When I reached near the truck, I finally saw what is the thing that attacked me. It is fist-list mantis monster, which the whole body is jet black. It looked like it made of black of iron. If not for seeing its beady green eyes, I would have thought this monster is not a monster but the small figurine made of metal. What surprised me most is its power stage. The monster is only at a peak level of specialist grade just like me, but is able to survive against my attack with minimal injury. If it were monster from Myasta Forest, even at the initial level of corporal stage, it would have been cut in two by my attack earlier, but this peak level specialist monster survives against it with minimal injuries. The reason I was surprised seeing this because from the intelligence, I've read this powerful monster is only found in Region 2, monsters of Region 1 is little stronger compared to the monster we found in the home. Seeing it is coming out of the hole, I attacked it one more time. This time I used more force than earlier. Pashak. My sword tore through its body and divided in two. This time there was no obstruction from its metallic defense. I removed the fingernail-sized monster core from its body and walked toward the Region 3. Chapter 253 Region 3-2. Minerva Realm is little different than the other realms, a realm which made from connecting various small realms. There are 17 such small realms made whole Minerva Realm, and that is why when one enters from one region to another he will appear at the totally random place of that region. That also applies to the entrance of the realm, that is why when we first entered it, appeared in random places within Region 1. By my speed, I should be able to reach the boundary of the Region 1 within half an hour, I thought as I looked at the map on my holowatch. There are many monsters attacked me on the way, but all of them were killed by my sword, and like either the earlier mantis monster that attacked me must have come from the Region 2 as the other monster Region 1 that attacked me were a lot weaker than it. I felt little confused though, as from what I know, monsters can't move to other for some weird reason, and that is good thing. Otherwise, if the strong monsters of other regions were able to move to other regions, then this realm would only for sergeant and master stage evolvers to adventure. Soon I reached the boundary which connects Region 1 and Region 3, it looked like layer bubble which stretched miles and miles. Chew. Ashlyn chirped and went inside me as I closed near the bubble layer. I hope that when I entered another side, I won't be directly entering the lair of some powerful monster, or the question of me surviving will become real cold. As I passed through the lair, I find wind on my body, and then came the coldness. When my vision cleared, I found myself on the hill, and it is slowing. The hill is lightly covered in the snow, and when I look around, I felt like I am standing in some beautiful scenery. This is one of those ideal places which our picture should be taken to upload on your social media account. There is not a single hill but a whole range of them which stretched for the miles and miles. I did not waste any time and launched a fist-sized drone out of my pocket to take some pictures of me. I had brought this drone months ago to record my battles against monsters so I could watch it at home and go over the mistakes I made, but now I am using it to take beautiful pictures of me. I know I should first analyze my location first to access the danger, but scenery here is so irresistible that I couldn't help but take some photos. These photos sure going to make them jealous, I thought. After taking photos from all the angle, I put away the drone and opened the map on my holowatch to access my location. I already have a faint idea about where I am, seeing I studied the map quite extensively for 3 days. My current location is Christopher Hill Range. It is dividing line between the territory of Specialist Stage and Corporal Stage Monster, a good location for me to start my training in the Region 3. Activating my sword, I started to climb the hill as I wanted to go the other side of the hill as that's where Corporal Stage Monster is and also is one of the greenest areas of Region 3. I wanted to train in the area where the strong monster is and also have lots of trees because that where the chances of miracle fruit is highest is. Roar. I heard and saw the monster coming toward me with its claws out. The one is coming toward me is Bear Monster. It seemed to have been patiently waiting for the prey and must have easily spotted me from a high vantage point. It is around 7 meters tall and its whole body covered in thick dark brown fur and each strand of its hair is coated with air, so, it looked Bear Monster covered in the armor of the snow. That not all, the claws which it going to seemed more than 10 inches long and very shard. It is initial level Corporal Stage Monster and it is going to weigh stronger than the initial level Corporal Stage Monster that found in Myasta Forest. Roar. It let out another big roar and jumped at me, wanting to divide me in two with those extremely sharp claws of its. I did not move seeing it coming at me. I let it come close. When its claws were less than half a meter away from me, that's when I finally made my more move. Fur. Thud. I activated 2 tiny jets behind my legs move and moved 2 steps away from its claws. My speed was so fast that even clear confusion shone on the bear monster's face. Its face looked very cute in confusion before reverting that of fury. Fur. I did not plan to give any chance to the bear monster, that is why as soon as it landed on the ground, 1 small fire jet ignited behind my hand, increasing the speed of my sword many times as it speedily stuck toward the waist of monsters before it could even react. Gotcha! A sound of ice breaking rang out as my sword passed through its defensive ice armor, making a large cut on its skin. Roar. It roared loudly after receiving the injury and come at me furiously, but I easily dodged its attack, activating small fire jets behind my legs. If I had come across this bear monster 14 months ago, I would have had no chance but run despite having skill can pierce through this monster body. If I had to make a comparison, then this bear's fighting power is equal to the Herman, the winner of the Specialist Stage West Blood City competition 14 months ago. If that's complicated, then in simple term, this monster bear is powerful enough to contend against the mid-level Sergeant Stage monster back home. Even he had to expand all his trump card and quite an amount of time to defeat this bear monster. That's how powerful this bear monster is, but now I am easily fighting it without much breaking the sweat. Kacha kachak. One cut after another, I kept making cuts all over its body. It friendly tried to defend against my sword but it couldn't. In just 3 minutes, I made hundreds of cut all over its body. If it was any normal monster, it would have slowed down due to blood loss, but this monster bear unexpectedly has immense vitality which is helping it heal its injuries faster. As I was fighting it, I suddenly noticed something little distance from me, but I decided to ignore it and kept fighting it. Seeing at this speed it will take me a lot of time to finish this fight, I decided to increase my power by 1. Fur. 2 small jets ignited behind me. My hand previously could be seen normally had become blur and power of my blows also doubled. In this past year, I worked really hard perfecting this ability of mine, and now each small jet is filled with power and igniting the extra would double my speed and power excitedly. Currently, why I can only ignite maximum 3 jets behind my every arm and legs due to the limitation of my body. The day my body got stronger my power will soar beyond imagining, as that time I will able to use this gimmick made of my ability at its limit. Chapter 254 Region 3-3. Spurt. Roar. A large amount of blood started to spurt from the more than 50 wounds that I just made. Even its immense vitality isn't able to stop a large amount of blood flowing out of its wounds. First, there was no noticeable change in its movements and attacks, but as the wounds started to build upon its body, that started slow it down bit by bit to the point it became a wooden block for me, which let me cut it as I please. Roar. I gave out loud roar and started to run from battle, but how can I let it run away, which I spent pallet minutes injuring? I upped my attacks even more, especially on its legs, so it would have a hard time running away while being careful of its desperate attack to take me down with it. In the past year, I've burned by it many times and I usually vigilant about it. Be it human or monster, survival instincts kicks in when it is at its most desperate moments, and sometimes they even able to unearth their hidden potential as last moment. In the past year, I have seen it happen 2 times when I was fighting with the monsters. Both of times I was sure that I will kill the monster and kept attacking it to kill it, but at their last moment, when they were at their last moment, they leveled up. Of the 2 fights, one was very memorable that I don't think I will ever able to forgot. The monster I was fighting was that spiral hippo monster. It was peak corporal stage monster, and that is also its limit, as its strain was only level 3, but when it's at its last leg about to be killed by me, it somehow broke the limit and level up. It leveled up, breaking the limit of strain gave me huge confidence, as that time I was going through my lowest period and was even questioning myself that I could even break the limit or not. That moment gave me huge confidence, and whenever I start to question myself, I remember that memory to remind myself that there is hope, tiny that may there is still hope, and that will keep me going till I finally break the limit. Thud. Roar. It finally couldn't control itself and fell onto the ground, giving off muffled roars. It is not dead yet. My attacks were able to weaken it after injuring it heavily. Now that it fell, I can kill it in one fell swoop. Future, fur. I gripped my sword in both my hands and ignited 2 small fire jets behind both my respectively to give my sword enough power to penetrate the skull of the monster. Puck! My sword speedily went down and pierced its skull. Whatever shine that left in its disappeared as I removed my sword from its skull. As monster gets stronger, killing them would also become difficult, especially those the greater defense. I can injure them heavily, but to kill them, I have to work very hard. Sometimes my skill even became useless, especially towards some mid and most sergeant level monster, as those firebolts are not strong enough pierce through their defense. If this bear monster had been peak corporal grade, I would have to continue injuring it for more than an hour before it could die due to heavy injuries. I took out its core and some meat, which will I cook for dinner in the evening. Come out. I know you are hiding there. I shouted loudly. Earlier when I was fighting the monster, I felt unfriendly gaze on my back, which made me highly vigilant, and I decided to end the fight quickly with the monster. My shout went empty as no one comes out. Others would think I sensed wrong, as except for snow there is nothing else, but I am sure there are some people hiding there. I have developed a very keen sense toward danger fighting the very dangerous monster, and I sense when someone is looking at me from the short distance. Since you're not coming out, then I can only do this, I said, and a fire started to swirl around my palm, and next moment a silver fireball had materialized in my palm. Friend, there is no need to get angry, said a boy as 3 people appear out of the snow suddenly. Their leader seemed thin boy wearing a light orange training suit. Of the 3 people, his stage is highest as he is at mid-level of corporal stage, while of the 2 is at the initial level of corporal stage. We were just hiding there from the monster that you had just fought, he said as he walks toward me. The 3 of them didn't seem to know each other as they maintained little unconscious distance between them, and I also noticed their practice suits are plain devoid of any type of logo. That means they are free adventurers, not members of the organization. Then why are keep hiding even after I called you? I asked. Hearing my question, an expression of anger appeared 3 of their faces, but they quickly hid it. They must have felt very angry by my question, seeing there is a difference of stage between us, but despite that, he had to swallow his anger, seeing he is no match for me, otherwise he would have to hide from the monster that I'd just killed. We didn't want to give the wrong expression, he said, but when he saw the frown on my face, he decided to explain himself. You were fighting that monster bear while we are here hiding doing nothing. We didn't feel comfortable in coming out, you called, he explained apologetically. What he really wants to say is, they didn't feel the comfortable appearing in front of me because they felt little scared that I might do something to them. Space Realm is one the best realm to set up banditry. Many people come here just with the sole purpose of robbing people. Robbing the other's people wealth is much easier than the finding himself. In that way not only they could rob the wealth of the other, they even rob the artifact they wearing, which worth very much if they are night grade. Some ruthless bandit even kills people after robbing them. Quite so many people died in hands of these bandits whenever a public space realm is open, so these 3 people apprehension about me is understandable. I asked them some more question and got the answer which I had expected. These 3 people like me transported to the hill like me. It was a good thing they team up right after meeting to survive against any monster that attacked them. Not long after they come across monster bear that I had just killed and barely able to get away from it, only when the monster bear about to find them, I come across and monster bear found new target for its hunt. It is the mistake it made which it paid with its life. I let them go after they answer my questions as I also have to hurry to find the good spot for setting up camp as evening is around the hour and looking at weather which has started to take a little drastic turn. There are chances of heavy snowfall. Chapter 255 Snowstorm. Fortunately we are not late. I said out loud as Ashlyn quickly melted the snow with her fire and I activated the tent. Choo-choo. Ashlyn also affirmed with her chirp. Like I feared earlier, the weather had worsened. What used to be beautiful light snowfall had turned into heavy snowfall where seeing meter away had become impossible. The tent expanded and started to bore small drill to the ground for better grip, so, no matter how heavy the snowfall is, there will be no harm come to the tent. Within the seconds the camp fully erected and I entered inside. This new tent is nothing like the tent I had a year ago. This tent could be considered a mini cabin. It had soft bed and table to work, but most importantly I can cook inside without fear of being smoldered by the smoke. The tent's internal functions will quickly suck whatever extra smoke being emitted. This made this tent one of the best tent in the market for an adventurer like me. It has many other important functions, such as being inside I don't even have to fear Lieutenant Stage Monster as long as I kept supplying it the power. The one function of it I most like is 360-degree surveillance. I can see what is happening outside the camp in 360-degree vision. It will all be projected in front of you. After changing into normal clothes from the training suit, I started to prepare for dinner. I am going to make the dish of bear monster meat that I had killed earlier. For good taste it is best you used fresh materials. After taking out meat I started to remove cooking instrument and materials from my storage. Ashlyn and I both love to eat, that is why I brought the best material for the adventure in this realm, which would enough even two people add up. I started making dinner and soon an hour later wonderful smell spread through the tent. Just smelling the food my mouth started to water. I can't help but wonder how it will taste. I served the 2 potions, both for me and Ashlyn, and activated the camp cameras so I could eat while watching the scenery outside. The projection of outside projected front of me in 360 degrees. I could see the snowfall outside. It had worsened. Even seeing front you had became impossible right now. I hope those 3 people are safe. As long as they have a good tent they will be fine, and seeing all 3 of them corporal stage, they will be fine as long as they don't come across any dangerous monster that wanted to them its dinner for tonight. The dinner was very nice. It is tastier as I expected. We finished our plates in 15 minutes with bloated stomachs. After cleaning plates and packing leftovers for tomorrow, I started to do the after-dinner exercise that I started doing a few months ago after dinner. It is the exercise of my combat style. It is still very tiring exercise. I felt very tired doing it despite creating the 8 seals of supreme combat exercise, but I help very much. It helps in digesting the meal quickly, but most importantly it also helps in freeing my muscle and keeping my body toned, which indirectly help me in the combat. I do this exercise every day after dinner, except for when I am at IME is my relaxing time where I didn't even think about training. After doing exercise for 3 hours, I stopped and take a shower in my tent's very tiny shower. Yes. This tent had a shower, a very tiny one, but it is enough. The only prerequisite of activating shower is, there have to have enough power and source of water around the tent. This is the specialties of night grade camps. They have features that normal grade 1 could have. Mine is still lacking though. Compared to the mid and high level camps, they have some features that will absolutely blow one's mind. After the shower I studied the map for 2 hours and made plans for my training from tomorrow. This time I plan to return home being corporal stage evolver. I even prepared to take some risks which I had some reservation in taking this past year. I fell asleep while making plans for my training, and when I wake up the next day, the snowfall seemed to stop, but my tent is buried in heaps of snow. I am not worried seeing my tent is buried in heaps of snow. It had been my old tent. I would have to work little hard to get out, but with this tent, it's all one button away. Without carrying my tent buried in snow, I freshened up and took a good shower before started heating the leftovers from yesterday. Choo-choo. Ashlyn also woke up by smelling of food and stood to wait in front of the inner pot. It didn't take long till leftovers to be cleaned up by two of us. After cleaning the plates and packing everything, it is time to leave. I pressed some buttons on the tent's control panel and soon I felt slight heats as sizzling sounded from the outside. The tents are all weather protected. Now what I just did is heat up the flaps of the tent so the snow that is covering the tent quickly melted. I watched the process of snow melting through the projection. From this speed, all snow around my camp should be melted in 5 minutes. Finally, I said loudly as I got out of the tent, I felt like I am in the big hole. My camp melted snow around it creating a big hole. I would have to climb it to reach to the surface. I deactivated the tent and started to climb on the snow to reach the surface. Wow, if yesterday's was picturesque then today these ranges of hills are looked like it come out of some fantasy. The hills were completely covered in snow and when soft light of early morning fell on them, it produces amazing effects that one couldn't help but marvel. The hill total no wall snow, the only greenery one could find is forest below which only seemed to be lightly covered in snow. I didn't even control myself to stop even for a second and start a photos amphotosost shooting some small videos with Ashlyn. My friend's going to so jealous, I thought happily in my mind. It took me 20 minutes and little self-control to put the drone away. If not for my high anticipation to start my training, I would have spent hours taking photos. I had already reached the top of this hill yesterday. Now I have to go down and enter the forest, which is the territory of the Corporal and Sergeant Stage Monster. On the way down, I intentionally avoided fighting with Corporal Stage Monster to avoid wasting time. As this training I am mostly going to focus on the peak level Corporal Stage Monster and initial level Sergeant Stage Monsters, as only monsters of peak Corporal Stage and above could give me feeling of despair in the Region 3. Chapter 256 Annotace Lizard Eye. Coming down from the hill, I saw many people coming out of snow and walking around the hills, going toward their direction. Everybody had their plan before coming to the Minerva realm, otherwise they wouldn't bring the 50 million ticket of the realm. This realm is a treasure trove. Not only there are super exotic monsters which one can capture to sell later, but there is also very rare herbs and minerals. The higher the region one can go, the most fortune he will earn, but danger also increases the same. I even heard some people even found the mana crystal source somewhere in the high regions previous times when the realm opened. The most precious commodities this realm have to offer is totem materials. Totem materials can be anything like parts of monsters like horns, bones, feather. Some herbs also include in totem materials, but the most important is the minerals and metals. They are the most important parts used to make the totems. Hundreds of organizations and thousands of people have posted their request for the materials. I had already memorized all the names of the material which I could. If luckily I come across some materials, I will be struck rich, but it is full dream as all the material need to make totems are really rare and could only be found in the region 10 or above, where only powerful master stage powerhouses dared to enter. Well, finding some stray will depend on my luck, but seeing how unlucky the past year went, I don't have much hope in finding some stray totem material. The only possibility is Ashlyn, only she will be able to discover that rare herb and bring it back if it caught her fancy. Ashlyn, be careful, I said as Ashlyn flew away from my shoulder as we reached the forest down. I have skillfully climbed down from the hill, avoiding monster carefully. Now I didn't want all of it to throw down by the excitement of Ashlyn. I can understand her excitement. It is due to many wonderful things she had smelled as she came down into the forest. Hearing my warning, Ashlyn became little calm and started fly sneakily. My plan is to fight peak level Corporal Stage Monster to perfectly gauge the power of the monster in the Region 3. The power of peak level Corporal Stage Monster Region 3 would be comparable to the power mid-level to peak level Sergeant Stage Monster's power in Back Home. In the Back Home, I have never able to kill the peak Sergeant Stage Monster. I have heavily able to injure them many times but never able to kill them as they would always run away. The reason for that, I didn't have any lethal move that could heavily injure them at the single attack. My fire strikes, the strongest move under my arsenal, would barely able to pierce through the skull of mid-level Sergeant Stage Monster to kill it when that mid-level monster is defense-oriented. Then even bolts of my fire strike failed to kill it. Now I want to test the power peak Corporal Stage Monster before I could fight the initial Sergeant Stage Monster. While hiding from a low-level monster, I kept venturing deep inside the forest to search for my prey as Ashlyn followed behind me while enjoying the delicacies of the forest which she hadn't enjoyed for quite a while. Soon I heard something, and when I followed behind that sound, I found a Pika-level corporal monster is enjoying the feat. It is very scary looking Anatase lizard which seemed to be elephant monster. The Anatase lizard is one of the well-known monsters in Minerva realm. They are famous because they are known to be very vicious. Not only they are very vicious but they are very powerful, especially their sharp teeth and jagged tail, but their most distinctive feature is a layer of crystalline anatase that is covering its body, which gives them high defense. Fight or not fight? I question myself. If it were any other peak corporal level monster, I would not have asked this question to myself, but the monster in front of me, infamous Anatase lizard. Fuck it, I thought, and decided to fight it. For what reason Ivy come to this realm is to challenge powerful monster and break the limit, isn't it? Then why the fuck I am thinking so much about fighting this fucking Anatase lizard? It may be little stronger than another monster that its stage in this realm, but so what? That increase the fun of it fighting even more. Ready, Ashlyn? I said loudly, so Anatase lizard could hear it. I would have waited for time to let it finish the meal, but I wanted to anger it for being disturbed during the meal, so it will attack me full strength from the beginning. Gary! It screamed and ran toward me swiftly. Fury could be seen its vicious eyes. I can imagine at what condition I will end up in if I were too caught between those vicious teeth. This Anatase lizard is very young but still is 6 meters long. When they matured fully at mature stage, their length reaches up to the 16 meters. I stayed in my spot and did not move, seeing it is coming toward, and only made my move when its mouth was about the meter away. Wish its mouth made noise in the air as it came at me to chomp at my body, but it got empty air as I had already jumped toward its back. As I jumped, seeing it's busy chomping the empty air, I swung my sword at its back using the full force of my body. Clank! My sword clashed across the Anatase scales on its back, creating several sparks, but when I looked at the result, I was left quite dumbstruck as there was an only small scratch on its back, not even crack formed on its crystalline defense. This is some really crazy defense for a corporal stage monster. What I had just used now is full strength of my body, which had the power of 8 seals of supreme combat exercise. If this was normal peak corporal stage monster from Myasta Forest, if not dead it would have been seriously injured, but this monster is just received a single scratch on its crystalline scene. Gary! It screamed loudly, feeling the strike on its back, and its anger whipped its bulky jagged tail at me, which I had been waiting for. Fur. I ignited 2 small fire under my feet and made a rocket jump. I called this rocket jump because of fire jets under my boots help Anna made speedy jump, which feels like a rocket. Fur. While taking the jump, I directly ignited three small jets behind my arms and attacked at its tail. Yesterday when fighting with the monster bear, I had only ignited 2 jets onto single arm, but this time I am activating 3, which is the limit of my body can handle at current condition. Kalong! My sound made a loud noise as it cut across its tail, but when I saw the result, I fucking wanted to curse out loud at the ancestor of this wretched Anatase lizard. Looks like I now had no chance but to use my full power to go against this damn reptile. Chapter 257 Anatase Lizard 2. I have no choice but to use my full power right now, as my earlier attack had only able to draw the single line of blood across its tail, and that line of blood isn't deep either, seeing only a few drops of blood come out of it. Gar. Fur. It attacked me again with fury, seeing I attacked it, but I easily dodged its mouth with igniting 3 jets behind my legs. To corporal stage evolvers, my instant moment feels like a blur, as its speed is now comparable to one of best speed type skills amongst low-level night grade skills. The reason I brought the speed type skill because those jets only provide spur of speed, which is useful in battle, but when it's time to run they are not that helpful as they can't give consistent speed. Only speed type skill could do that, but not much longer, as I plan to rectify that weakness soon. Growling. It screamed loudly and came at me again. This monster is pretty much powerful in every aspect except for speed. If it also had a speed, then this monster would have enough power to kill stronger initial sergeant stage monster without fear. A faint green smoke started to come out of my body and I felt amazing strength spreading in my body as 8 seals releasing the vitality which spreading through my body. The more vitality the seals would release, the stronger my strength would grow. This is my strength type skill, Barbarian's Shadow. It is the skill which I got from my training center. It used both mana and vitality together to enhance the strength of the body. The most laughable thing about this skill is that this skill could say to be one of the most amazing strengthening type skill amongst strength type skill, but barely anyone was able to bring out its potential. As this skill uses 1/4 of mana and 3/4 of vitality, which is insane. To bring out this much vitality one needs more than 10 seals of supreme combat exercise, while I am currently only able to provide less than 1/4 of vitality this skill needs. So, this skill now only able to provide me with power that barely reaches night grade skill, but that will be enough. Fur. On top of activating the strengthening skill, and I even ignited fire jets behind my arms for extra boosts. Let's see if how your defense survives against this. Ah! I screamed loudly, jump seeing it come biting toward me. This time I am performing the same attack as I did for the first time. Pasha! Growling. I brought down my whole weight down with my sword. As my sword hit its back, the scales which I only able make scratch last time, but this time my sword passed through scales like butter without feeling any obstruction. Finally, my sword passed through its skin, creating a large wound, and I heard loud screamed of monster next moment. Fuss. I wanted to launch another attack, but I saw its jagged tail coming at, so I jumped off its back, but despite quickly jumping, its tail still grazed by my arm and I felt great shock traveling through my body. Thud, if not for me going through such instances past year, I sure would have controlled my body at last minute by somersaulting in the to manage the force and land safely at the distance. Fuck, that was close. I said as I still feel the force of the blow traveling all over my body. That bulky jagged tail of its looked slow but is extremely fast. I have to be careful of it from now on. Gary! It screamed loudly and came toward me. I did not stay on my spot either and ran toward it. To defeat this monster, I have to immobilize it, and what better way could that be than injuring its legs? All would become easier as long as I injure its legs heavily. Growling. It came at me with its mouth opened, but this time it is more vigilant of my jump, that is its head is little up so it could take bite off me if I tried to jump. Not only that, its tail had been ready to whip at me like a bat as long as I entered its range, but too bad for it as this time, I am not going to target its back. It attacked me with its mouth. I shudder seeing its big jagged teeth which could tear any flesh and make a powder of any bone that comes between them. Fur. Swish. Pasha. I made my move when its mouth just inches away from me. I dodged the attack and swung my sword at its legs before it knew what happened. Like last time, I carved deep red line across its legs. It screamed loudly and wanted to attack me, but I moved away and attacked another of its leg before getting away from it. As I've said, this monster is very powerful to make me use nearly all my strength, but it had a fatal weakness, which is its speed. It's not that its speed is very slow, but its lack compares to strength and defense it has. If its speed also been compared to its strength and defense, then I wouldn't have able to launch attack it this easy and would have had to use fire strike. Growling. Gar. I kept attacking it through the different method and made near hundreds of cuts across the body, but it still looked quite well. More than well, as now it had entered the frenzy and attacking me constantly like a crazy, but still, I am handling it quite well. From my estimation, I have to keep attacking it 100 more times before I can immobilize it. I had to be careful though. With frenzy taking over its mind, it will lose whatever rational mind it has and will full behave on instinct, and that is a most dangerous thing, as one can analyze others' rational thoughts, but analyzing one instinctual thought are very hard, especially monsters which we consider dumb. Pashak. I kept attacking it while being vigilant of its mouth and tail as I just moment before I am barely able to save my waist being chomped off. It was really very sudden. I was attacking its right front leg. I moved with instant speed and launched an attack. Just as I finished attacking and moving away, I sensed extreme danger only to see its mouth coming at me with extreme speed. It was a good thing I had experience of such things. I instantly ignited jets under my feet and jumped back. If I had jumped front, I would have met with its tail. Thud. Finally, it succumbed to its injuries and fell on the ground with a thud. The hard work of the past half an hour finally paid off. Hun. A surprised sound came out of my mouth as the Anatase lizard slumped on the ground and fell unconscious. I would though it was dead if not for hearing its faint breathing. Let's go, Ashlyn. I said to Ashlyn after I killed the Anatase lizard by hacking his neck tens of times by my sword. Testing is over, now it is time to fight the real monsters. Chapter 258 The Reaper. After killing Anatase lizard, I started to go deeper into the forest, to search for the corporal stage monster. On the way, I've come across some monsters and despite my best attempts of being sneaky, I got noticed by few monsters to which I had to fight, but it was not the bad thing. Fighting them helped me a lot, easing the anxiety I am feeling. Sergeant stage monsters of this realm going to powerful. I hope they will able to provide me that spark which will help me level up, as God knows how much I've tried for this. There have been many instances that I had nearly died. I just want this limit to break. I deserve it since I had put up so much hard work. Thanks, Ashlyn. I said to Ashlyn as she dropped off the fruit in my hands before flying away quickly. As we entered this forest, she had picked up her old habit of picking up herbs and fruits which she liked. Till now she had only brought up the fruits, but I believe she will soon bring some herb as long as it catches her eyes. Soon I reached the place where Sergeant Stage Monster roams. Now I just have to find a powerful initial level Sergeant Stage Monster fight. As I was searching for the Sergeant Stage Monster, I heard the faint fighting sound. Feeling curious, I decided to check it since this is the first fighting sound I've heard since coming to this area. I sneakily started to walk toward the sound, but when I got close enough and saw what is happening, I got little startled. There is peak corporal stage girl seemed to be fighting peak sergeant stage monster, and the fight is going on. The girl did not seem at disadvantage at all, but that's not what startled me. What startled me is that the monsters she is fighting are bipedal monster. Like the previous realm I went, it was contaminated by foreign energy which made a monster of that realm aggressive and mutates into bipedal monsters. This realm also contaminated by that foreign energy, but on many levels in the lower regions. That is why I spotted very few bipedal monsters in the forest, and all of them at specialist stage. The monster that girl is fighting the only bipedal monster I've seen in this forest which is not at specialist stage. I watched the fight for a few minutes before walking away, thinking I have my own monster to fight. I searched for the monster for an hour more, but no fruit come out of it. I saw many monsters, but they were either at mid or peak level of the specialist stage. Choo-choo. Just when I was thinking the whole day would go without any result, Ashlyn came chirping. There is a monster, really? I asked, reading her emotions. Choo-choo, she affirmed and started to fly toward the direction where she spotted the monster, and I followed behind her excitedly. Soon we came across the clearing where the monster is, and startlingly it is a bipedal monster which looked like iron rhinos. Iron rhinos are level 3 strain monsters, but this rhino monster is clearly at initial level of sergeant stage, and the color of its skin darker than normal iron rhinos. Well, its difference is nothing to do with me. The important thing is I finally found an opponent to fight, a bipedal one at that. Crunch crunch. I walked toward the iron rhino while intentionally making the sound of crunching left by my feet, so the monster would notice. Roar. It worked like a charm. As soon as it heard the crunching sound of my feet made, it came running toward me with its fist out. I didn't back down either, seeing that, as I also activated my strengthening skill and ignited 3 jets behind feet directly and run toward the iron rhino. Clank. Fuck. Pooh. I ran toward the iron rhino with strengthening skill activated and 3 jets ignited under my feet, and when I got close enough, I executed my plan, which suddenly moves away from monster and ignites jets behind my arms to launch attack on the back of the monster, but my plan utterly failed as this iron rhino was way faster than I had imagined. It hit me before I could even launch an attack at it. Its fist hit me like a sledgehammer, injuring me so heavily that I had to vomit a large amount of blood before flying away like a cannonball. It was a good thing at last moment. I used my sword as defense as its fist clashed against my sword. If that fist had crashed against my body, then I would have been in a lot worse condition than I am now. Thud thud. I stabilized myself in midair and controlled my fall expertly. I didn't waste a single moment before sucking away some liquid from the white pipe under my sleeve. I sucked on white pipe only when it is an emergency, as it contains the life potion which not only replenishes mana but also heals the injuries very quickly. 14 months ago, I had a quite large supply of the life potions, but when I started crazily pursuing the level up, I had used up all my reserve in 1.5 months and had bought the potions from Jim at discount price. Not only I brought life potions from Jim at discount price, but I also brought from the store, as the number of potions which Jim could provide to me is not enough. But every time I brought the life potion from the store, my heart burns a little, as every bottle of life potion cost 100,000 credits. That is why I used life potion sparingly and only drink it when I really have a need for it, like now. The cool sensation of life potion spread through my body, healing the injuries whenever it passed through. I would like if I had a few more seconds of rest, but unfortunately I did not, as Iron Rhino is coming at me with a very ferocious expression. With my skill already activated, I gripped my sword tightly, waiting for Iron Rhino to come close to me. Seeing that this Iron Rhino is not normal, I decide to use my full power, holding back nothing. Roar. Dub. It roared loudly as it attacked me with its fist. Seeing the fist coming toward me, I dodged like last time, and like last time, seeing that I dodging, it started to move its second fist to intercept, but before it could launch another fist, something very hot had hit across its face, distracting it for a slight second. That something hot is Ashlyn very concentrated fireball. In this past year not only I've improved, Ashlyn also improved as well, but the thing that most improved is our bond and teamwork, and every time I fight, Ashlyn hover above me, there to provide assistance if needed. The fire of Ashlyn does no damage to Iron Rhino, seeing its immense defense, but injuring Iron Rhino was never her intention to distract it, which she had become very proficient. The moment of time brought by the Ashlyn is precious. It helped me avoid the fist of the Rhino. Fur. I started igniting jets behind my arms. This time I've ignited 5 behind each arm instead of 3. Normally my arms only could bear the power of 3 jets at most, but when I used strengthening skill, it made my body stronger to bear the pressure of 5 jets. I ignite 5 jets very less, as every time I used, my arms very painful, not only that it also strains my arms very much. Slice. Spurt. My sword sliced across its back, tearing its iron skin like butter. The wound I had created inch deep in blood could be seen splurting out of it, but I was shocked seeing the wound. I thought this move of mine would at least cut to the bone, seeing this is the most powerful attack I have after Fire Strike, and Fire Strike is barely stronger than my this move. This means if my this move couldn't cut across the monster bone, then the possibility of Fire Strike piercing its bones is almost zero. Now, this fight is all depend on my skill, as I have no sure kill move which could kill this monster in the instant. If I want to kill this monster, I have to give my all, and still there is still a possibility of me not being able to kill that monster. The thing is, I am not sad and disappointed, but rather exhilarated. Now this the fight I have been waiting for, the fight which would give me enough pressure that to make me break the limits that had been binding me. Roar. It roared loudly with fury and come at me while I am still taking a jump back. Seeing it speedily closing on me, I don't think I will have a chance to land safely before it attacking me next second. I furiously thought for ways to avoid its fist, as if we clashed directly it will be who will come out worst, as monster offensive power is too great. I had experienced with first hand. I am such an idiot. I thought I had a perfect skill which could save me from this predicament. I didn't think of it, as I didn't use any of my grade 1 skills in months. Sky steps. I activated and take a jump in the sky, but when I looked down, I saw the scene below. No one who enters in Minerva Realm wished to see. Even super elites would run with their tail tucked between their legs when they even saw a shadow of them. Below me is a fallen body of Iron Rhino which dead had been cut half, and beside it is an aqua blue snake which is eating its brain with relish while looking at me intently. I come across one of the 3 Banes of Minerva Realm. The Blade Snake, aka the Reaper, aka the Brain Devourer, aka the Bloodhound, aka the Blue Nightmare. These are the names of 1 meter long nightmare which is looking at me from below. It is 1 meter long aqua blue snake which had about 3-inch long blade end of its tail. It is one of 3 most dangerous monsters of Minerva Realm. 97% 7% of those people who come across these 3 monsters die. The 3 monsters had their own quirks, and the one which is looking at me from below know for its persistence. The Blade Snake, it got its name from the sharp blade it has at the end of its tail. It loved to slice heads and eat the brains, and its most favorite delicacy is eating the brain. It is said that once the blade snake gave you stare, it will follow you till it will eat your brains. That is why it is known as a bloodhound. The best course action after seeing the blade snake is run fast as you can. While running, activate all the defensive measure you have to protect your head, as this is body part that the blade snake targets the most. Don't expect help from anyone, even Master Stage Powerhouse won't help, even seeing it is Specialist Stage Blade Snake following you, much less the Corporal Stage, which is down below. The only way to save your life is run toward the boundary of the region and cross it. Only then you will be safe, as monsters from other regions can't enter the different region for some reason. Sky Step. That is why I took the longest jump I've ever taken using sky steps and even ignited jets without thinking if they will be any use or not. If I had come out of the predicament alive, then I will sure pray to God daily and even light a candle in his shrine every week, as my mother told me to. Chapter 259, The Chase. Sky Steps. Taking third big jump from the sky steps, I reached the crown of the tree, and from there, I started taking a jump on the other tree, but suddenly a blur caught my eye and gave me a big fright. The blade snake is climbing the tree at lightning speed. Its speed is so fast that my eyes were only able to the blue blur. Feeling very scared, I started running on the trees. I know this is very dangerous, just a little mistake on my part and I will fall on the ground where Reaper will be waiting for me with its blade. I had never run on the tree before, but I had seen a video on the web how to do that when I saw few people running on the trees in my Asta forest. It's fortunate that I still remember the basic tips of it, which are now helping me run on the trees right now, but I know the slight mistake on my part would cost me a fall. Just single slip of my feet and I will directly enter the world of the dead. The one thing that helping me most are my fire jets. Using sky steps over and over would take too much of my mana, as I am already using 2 of my night grade skill while I am running. I don't think the potions I have would last if I kept using sky steps, so, using my fire jets to jump around the trees is best option, as they gave my legs enough power to make long jumps, and if tree is really out of my jumps range, which hardly, I can use the sky steps as final option. Shing. The heard noise, only to see the tree which I had just taken the jump from has fallen. I couldn't see clearly what happened, but I know it is the work of the blade snake. I was right. Just as I took a jump on another tree, I found it is falling on the ground. I had to take a quick jump on another tree, which I barely able to balance myself before taking next jump again. This fucking Reaper. I cursed as I sacred shitless, seeing that the blade is cutting the trees which I am jumping on to make me fall. I got a clear look as it swung its tail at the tree trunk, and the tree trunk clearly cut into. It feels like it's not cutting trees but leaves, as it's taking barely any time to cut the tree. I am really feeling scared right now. If it caught up to me, then I wouldn't have a chance to scream before it cut my head in half and eat my brains. Suddenly I moved toward the left despite knowing it will be dangerous ahead. Not only this way passed through the area where the densest population Sergeant Stage is, I will even have to leave the protection of the tree after few hours, but this route is still better as this route is closer to Region 4 boundary. The boundary of Region 4 little more than 100 kilometers away. If I had taken the other way, I had to run for about 150 kilometers away, a 50 kilometer more than the route I am currently taking. It will take me the whole night and early morning to cross 100 kilometers, but if I give my all then I am confident I can cross 100 kilometers in one night. It's been half an hour since I have been running for my life and I can feel the constant presence of the blade snake below me. It is feeling of death god behind you. If you stopped for a moment, then its SCYTH will fall on you. If one looked behind me, one will see the clear long line of fallen trees. It must have cut down more than 500 trees since it started following me. Whatever tree put my step on it, it will be cut. Madame the blade snake's blade tail. The blade on its tail is just a few inches long, but it is sharp enough to cut down trees whose trunk is meter thick. I had to move very fast, not spending even second on the tree before jumping on the branch of another tree, otherwise, I will fell with the falling tree which had been cut by the blade snake. Looking at my watch, there is little more than an hour till evening. After it gets dark, I have to be extra careful as chances of me falling off the tree will increase further. Not to forget monsters are mainly active at night. Suddenly a thought came into my mind, and when I think about it, I thought it is very weird, but soon I got the answer after some thinking. I was thinking that why no other monster come to attack me since I had been so openly running on the trees, but answer soon provided in the question I thought. The reason why there aren't monster attacking me, also the blade snake. Not only human feared this reaper but monsters also do. This is most likely the reason why no monsters attacked me yet. Not only I had received an attack from the surface monster, but flying monster also didn't dare to attack me. As soon as they saw me coming, they would fly away from the trees they are on. Gulp. I drank another potion. Ever since I had started running, I am drinking potions like water, as I am currently activated 2 night grade skills and also igniting jets to make leaps. I am using whatever I have for the slightest boost in speed, not caring anything about the potions bottles that I am drinking like water. That decision was really right. I thought, when I was making preparation for the realm, I brought normal potions in bulk which cost me millions of credits. Mainly they were mana potion and healing potion. After buying I thought I brought too much as they cost me a lot of money and space in my storage, but I still kept pack them in my storage thinking, this time there is no Jill who is going to give extra bottles of potions when I needed it. Zzzzzzz. Fuck. I was running normally and thought the blade snake would also keep cutting the trees to make me fall, but suddenly it had done something different. Instead of cutting the tree, it climbed on it, and its speed so fast that I could only see the blue blur with 2 small red dots, which is its eyes. It is climbing the tree which is I am going to land, so even if I achieve the sky step now, it will able to launch an attack as long it jumped from the tree, which is definitely going to do that. Its attack definitely going land on me, and there is no way I could avoid it. The best way to defend against it and quickly take a high jump using the sky steps, but before that I will have to survive its attack. If not, then instead of taking high jump with sky steps, I would be lying on the ground dead with my brain eaten. Calming my mind, I quickly went into action. The tail of the blade snake is extremely vicious. The blade on its tail could pierce through anything. It's good thing I am ready for its attack. I am ready since I started running. The dense fire quickly covered the helmet I am wearing. Above dense fire layer, white energy covered my whole body. It very dense on my head especially. Not only that, I also put my already activated shield behind my head. The dense fire layer is my fire ability, while white layer which covering my body is my defense skill. Above it is the protection of my shield. Not to forget my head is covered in night grade mask and strengthening skill which I kept activated from earlier. Despite these defenses, I am not sure I could come off unscathed from its attack. If defending against it were that easy, then most people who come across it wouldn't have died. Chapter 260 The Chase 2. Shing. Its bladed tail clashed against my shield, and next moment it pierced through the protection of my shield like butter. Though it pierced through the protection of my shield, it still lost some of its power. My shields were able to stop some of its piercing momentum. After bypassing the energy layer of the shield, it clashed against the white layer of my defensive skill. The power of my defensive skill was able to stop its tail for a fraction of a second before the blade snake tail pierced through my defensive skill, but it also whittled away lots of power of the attack. Next, the blade of the Reaper went against the layer of my fire layer, while it directly pierces through as it was the weakest of my defense. I had just covered my head with it so it could whittle away some power of the attack. If other defenses could consider varies the type of pillows, then my fire layer could consider a cotton sheet. Compared to others, its defensive power is very less, but it still has some defensive pitch which will help whittle away some force of the attack. Finally, the blade of the blade snake crashed against my night grade mask. It stands still for a fraction of a second before piercing back of my head directly. It started to dig deeper and deeper while I kept resisting it with my strengthening skill. Uploading all the vitality I have stored in the 8 seals in my strengthening skill, so it could slow down the piercing of blade. The blade kept entering my head slowly while I was wholly concentrated on strengthening my head with strengthening the skill. The blade is piercing back of my head, so I can't see how much deep it got, but feeling extreme pain that I am feeling, I think it's going pretty deep. Ashlyn cried out inside me feeling that, but I stopped her doing anything stupid. She can make things only worse by coming out. As the blade is going inside me, I felt both helpless but also resolved to live. My resolve became so strong that I felt something awakening inside me, but just as that feeling came, it's gone. Clank. Spur. A sound clank rang across my ears, and next moment, the Reaper plunged away by my sword and I took straight jump high. It felt like minutes had been passed, but barely 2 seconds had passed since I spotted the snake and prepared the offensive-defensive measures. My plan was divided into 2 parts. First is offensive, other is defensive. This plan of mine required both offensive and defensive to work in sync. Even mismanagement of a fraction of a second would have cost me my life. The first part of the plan is put the idea DEA defensive even measure. That is, I used all the defensive artifacts, skill, and other things in defense. I could have also put my sword before shield after, and that would added another layer to defense, but that would have been a grave mistake. The notes of the realm that Jill and Jim provided me were the best intelligence their organization has about Minerva Realm, and in which they have a quite detailed description of 3 Banes of Minerva Realm. I have read them quite well, and especially about 3 Banes, as these monsters' ability match that of upper a monster, which have the power to beat those who are 2 or 3 grade above them easily. Seeing this initial corporal stage blade snake, I knew I had no chance to live even if I added the layer that why much able to pierce my head. That is why I had decided my plan in 2 parts. The defensive part is just a distraction, while my sword was a thing that gave me hope to live. While the snake is busy with piercing through my defense, I was ready with me to strike it away. I couldn't be too early but couldn't be too late also. If I attacked too early, the blade snake could easily change the attack of its direction, and that time my sword might not be able to reach it. While I was late, then there is no question swinging sword, as I will be an embrace of angel of death by then. The key is perfect timing, and the best timing is when its tail started piercing my mask. At that, the Reaper will be sure of my death, that won't able distracts itself, and that Hiltonen to launch an attack at it. The plan was successful but received a grave injury. The blade of Reaper went quite deep, so that when it came out, a fountain of blood started to spurt from the back of my head. It's good thing that I had drunk the life potion. It stopped the injury next second and even started to heal the bone of skull that had been pierced by its blade. As for the blade snake's condition, I am sure nothing happened as it had the stellar defense. That sword strike of had not even left a scratch on its, much less injuring it. I am currently concentrating my all to running, trying to put maximum distance between us, as I am sure it will follow. The nickname Bloodhound it got isn't without a reason. While running, I thought about the feeling I got when the blade of the Reaper had pierced through my head. It felt like cracking of some shell or awakening of some sort, but it was gone before I can sense it more carefully. While the feeling I got for a fleeting second, but I am sure, it is feeling of breaking of limit. Till this past year, I know the general direction on breaking the limit, but now I got the glimpse of the map, which is enough. With this clear direction, I'm confident in breaking the limit. It's just that I will have to embrace the death at a much closer distance than I like to, I thought with a laugh. 20 minutes passed by, and that is when I caught the shadow of the green snake below me as it is following me with its blurring speed. This time, I am little more vigilant, ready to jump using sky steps if I see the single sign of climbing the tree. Last time I noticed too late, but this time I will not make that mistake, as I personally experienced its ripping blade, and if possible I've never wanted to experience it. The sun has started to go down, and in 15 minutes the darkness will cover the entire forest. As I was running, I heard the faint fighting sound in front of me, and from the sound, I can guess a group of people is fighting. Their luck is bad. It was any other monster I would have changed my direction a little to go around their fight, but what is following my Reaper? Even little turn would slow down my speed, which could give chance to Reaper to launch an attack at me. Compared to unknown people, my life is more important and I would not risk it for them, I thought as I dived in their fighting field.